Are you guys ready to bring back on the champ, Robin Robbins? If you are ready to bring on the champ, I need you to type, "Oh yeah," into the chat with an exclamation point. She loves to read it. Let's bring her out, the one, the only, the undisputed champion of IT sales and marketing. Let's bring her out, Robin Robbins!
Yeah, music's getting a little better. I see that. That's cool. All right. And you know, they were talking about St. Jude and raising money with a day of consulting for me, and I was thinking that maybe some of you are a little like, what am I going to do for a full day? You know, you can get together with your accountability groups and you can sit and spend a whole day with us, with me focusing on one thing. But another option could be if you want me to write some marketing copy for you, I can give you the equivalent of 8 hours of writing your website, writing copy, doing an interview with you, creating a website or web page or whatever. So I will leave that as an option too. It's 8 hours. I mean, so it's whatever you want me to work on for that. And I can assure you that it will be very worth your money, and you're raising money for a good cause. So don't forget that. All right, so let's talk about the 4 essential marketing oil wells. The reason I wanted to do this session was because I hear over and over again, people feel lost. They feel like we're giving them almost too many things to do, too many campaigns. And the intention for that is not to overwhelm you. The intention was, I never want to give you just a few things and then you say, oh, well, what about a campaign for this, or what about a strategy for that, or whatever it is, and then we go, oh, you got to pay more money for that. So my goal is, in giving you all the campaigns that we're giving you, is to give you sort of like a mega super watt big gym where, you know, yeah, there's a lot to do here. There's yoga, there's basketball, there's weight training, there's CrossFit, there's a spin bike, and there's Pilates. There's all these things you can do. It's not to overwhelm you. It's just to make sure that you get what you need. But I do understand that when you're presented with so much, it can be overwhelming and a bit daunting to try and process and figure out, how do I actually get these marketing campaigns implemented? So that's why I wanted to do this session. It is a marketing 101 session, although I would encourage anybody who's been a client of mine for a long time to tune in and watch this. There's going to be things that you clearly, if you've been a client of mine for a while, that you've already done, that you've got in place. And I get that, so don't be grumpy. There's people that are hearing this for the very first time. And there are also things that I'm going to say that I would encourage you not to sit there and say, I already know that, but ask yourself, are we truly doing it, and are we doing it as well as we can or could? Because right now, in the recession that we're facing, you cannot be sloppy. You can't have holes in the bucket. Right now, you got to tighten down every screw. You got to make sure every hole is plugged so that every opportunity, every lead that comes in, every sale is maximized. That's how you're going to get the most out of this recession. Because if you just continue being sloppy and lazy and casual about lead generation and follow-up and everything else, you're going to have a tough time of it. So that's what these 4 marketing essential oil wells are. Now, the first thing I want to just kind of start with square one. The mistake I see a lot of MSPs making is they approach marketing like the Plinko game. Now, if you are around my age, when you were growing up, you maybe remember The Price is Right. My mother had it on every day at 12 o'clock. It came on, and she always watched The Price is Right with Bob Barker. And one of the games on The Price is Right was the Plinko game, and you won these chips. And like you can see on the slide, the game was that you stood at top of the Plinko game, and down at the bottom are these slots with different money amounts in it, as well as 2 bankrupt slots that are down at the bottom. And so the game is, you win these chips and you stand at the top and you kind of hover above and you try and figure out where can I drop the Plinko chip, and it pings all the way down into pegs, and hopefully it lands in some money. If you're unlucky, it lands in bankruptcy, and any money that you got is now gone. Now, that's how most MSPs, small business owners really, they think about marketing. They stand there at the top and they go, well, I hope, and they drop it and maybe it goes in. It's really a game of chance for the most part. And that's not what you want to do when you want to do marketing. you got to build systems and processes, things that you can replicate, that you can scale, because the absence of systems really is the biggest major contributing factor to chaos, uncertainty, low profits, wildly erratic results. So sometimes you have a good month, sometimes you have a bad month. That's that roller coaster ride for both salespeople and for entrepreneurs. And the reason that most people don't have systems and processes, well, actually, there's three main reasons why they don't have reliable marketing systems in their business. One, building a system is a lot of work to set up initially. So an example would be the story of two villages trying to deliver water. Now, both villages have water wells that are outside the city. They have to go uphill to get them, and they run a bucket brigade. So they take a donkey and a group of people, and they go up with buckets, and they get water out of the well, and then they got to go back to the village. And one day, one of the villagers gets the idea that, if we could build a pipe system, a pipeline system from the well down to the village, we wouldn't have to do this bucket brigade anymore. And so what the other village hears the idea and they say, no, it's complicated. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of money. I don't think we can do it. I think we're just going to keep carrying buckets. So the other village, though, says, you know what? We're going to have to still keep carrying buckets until until the pipeline is built. But in the meantime, they get busy and they start trenching the ground and they start laying down the pipe from the well all the way down to the village. And it's difficult, and they got to dig through rock, and they're going through the hard, cold winter when the ground is frozen and they're freezing all the way into the summer months when they're sweltering hot, and they are enduring all kinds of conditions, and it's very expensive and it's complicated because they run into problems and they got to dig around boulders, and they've got to figure out how to keep the pipeline clear and how to get it down in the well, how to build a pump, and they're spending a lot of money and time, and it might take a year for them to get it. But then once they have it built, now all they got to do is turn a little spigot on, turn a little handle on, and water flows. They don't have to keep going back and forth to get the buckets, right? That's because they have a system. And that's really a good analogy of how a marketing system works, or any system in your business. When you first set it up, it's a lot of work initially, but it gets easier. It's complicated. Here's a really ugly, terrible truth about systems, and that is, contrary to what you might think, the goal of a system is not to simplify your business. You think systems will make things easier. I'm here to tell you they don't make things easier. Often, to get the maximum results, it's complicated and it's difficult. The goal of having a system is to minimize an inconsistent output while minimizing raw materials, meaning the input, by reducing variables, thereby cutting out waste. So if I can hire 3 telemarketers, and I have a system of who they call, what they say, how they respond to certain reactions, how they book. If I have a system in place, those 3 appointment setters can be 3, 4, 5 times as productive as a whole team of 10. And it's so much easier to hire and manage 3 people than 10, or have a lot of turnover and just hope that they work out. It decreases morale. People are unhappy. You get wild, erratic results. So the goal of a system in marketing is not to make things simple. The goal is to maximize a consistent output with minimal raw materials being time, money, people, etc. And the third reason a lot of people don't have systems is because they're trying to do it all themselves without the proper tools, which is like marketing automation software or a CRM. And yes, I have a horse in the race. We do sell Infusionsoft, and it's what we use. And I can tell you that in absence of having a good marketing automation platform and CRM, trying to do any kind of marketing is going to be extremely difficult. Whether you're trying to do my type of marketing, or you're trying to do any kind of marketing, managing leads that are coming in, qualified, not qualified, who you need to follow up with, who needs to be taken off the list, who didn't respond, who's gotten what campaign, where did they come from. See, you need a marketing automation system to handle all that, and we'll talk about that. Now, another concept I want to make sure everybody understands is the concept of a marketing oil well. A marketing oil well is a process-driven marketing campaign that you can systematize and repeat to generate the same results within an acceptable range of variance. So if you look at boot camp, this event, well, this one's odd, right? Because it is what it is. But if you look at boot camp, we've been running it for 13 years. And every year we make it a little better and we tweak it. But by and large, this is a giant marketing oil well. How we promote it, how we market it, how we conduct it, how we pick speakers. The whole thing is a big, giant process. And that's how we are able to run an event like we do on such a small crew, because it is a system. And remember, I said the purpose of having a system is to maximize output while minimizing the input of raw material. So I don't need a bunch of people running around like Keystone Cops running into each other. If we have a system, we have a process, everybody knows what they're supposed to do, knows where they're supposed to be, right? If you look at something as simple as a webinar, that is a marketing oil well. How do you get people to register? How do you get them to show up? How do you get them to buy? Once you've figured that out, you don't throw it away and say, okay, what's the next campaign? You rinse and repeat, you rinse and repeat. Just like I was talking about in my earlier session in getting qualified leads, you want to have those long-form core content pieces, which are basically big, giant marketing oil wells. And when you set these up, now you know you're going to get a certain number of leads every single week, every single month. You're going to get a certain number of customers. And just like us, with boot camp, with road shows, with webinars, whatever we do, we know by attendance, we know how many people are going to show up, how many people are going to register, how many are going to show up. We know how many are going to buy. I mean, it's all within a little range of variance. And therefore, I can forecast better. I can plan and prepare better, and I know how to grow my business, right? Now, we're always trying to beat it, but we've got a system that works. Another way to think about this is a chocolate cake recipe. So I'm a decent cook. And if you just give me some ingredients, I can put them together. Because when you're just cooking, you can be a little bit loose with it. But when you're baking is an exact science. If you are baking a chocolate cake and you decide you don't like eggs and you leave the eggs out of the recipe, you're not going to have an award-winning chocolate cake, all right? If you double the baking powder, or you decide that you like bananas, so you're going to just throw some bananas in there, right? It might work out, but it might go horribly, horribly wrong. And that's because baking is more scientific than cooking. And so if I had a chocolate cake recipe that was an award-winning chocolate cake, even if you're not an expert baker, if I had a good recipe and I detailed, here's all the ingredients, here's the exact measurements, so you don't even have to guess. This is exactly how much flour, sugar, milk, eggs, chocolate, you know all the ingredients, and there's a syntax. Here's how you put them in order, here's how long you bake it. If I gave you that and it was a good recipe, pretty much everybody who's watching could get close, at least, to baking an award-winning chocolate cake. But if I put you in a pantry with all different kinds of ingredients and said, bake a cake, I mean, you'd be like, I don't even know what amounts, what ingredients. So it would be a mess. And that's exactly how most people, when they approach marketing, they're in this pantry going, okay, I don't even know where to start. I don't even know what I want to bake. Okay, maybe I'll bake chocolate cake. I have no idea how to do it. You need a recipe, and that's what a marketing oil well is. It is a recipe that if you follow it, you rinse and repeat, you can get the same result. And this isn't just marketing, by the way, folks. This is customer service. This is how you deal with an unpaid invoice. This is how you clear a ticket. This is how you onboard a client. And another thing I'll tell you is all profit in any company. If you look at any company that is growing profitably, they're doing it based on systems. They do not wake up every day or every week or every month and go, well, geez, how do we feel like onboarding clients today? Or how do we feel like generating leads? Or how do we want to run our sales process today? That's not at all what they do. And that's why a lot of people don't grow, and they don't grow profitably because they don't have any systems in place, all right? So marketing oil wells, just to be clear, can be for clients. They're campaigns that can be for clients or for prospects. They can use any combination of media. Usually every campaign I'm giving you is a multimedia campaign. So direct mail, social media, email, telemarketing, you name it. And it can be very long. Like I said, boot camp is a big giant oil well, or it can be short, like the 9-word email. Now, a really good example that's posted up there, you can see the flow chart, is the aspirin campaign. So if you got the toolkit, you got the aspirin campaign. This is a weekly prospecting marketing oil well. And so once you get this in place, you don't have to constantly think, well, what's the next campaign? So people would come to me and they say, well, Robin, I ran the aspirin campaign. What do I do next? And I say, well, how many people did you run the aspirin campaign to? And they say, well, we ran it to 100. I said, well, and you got results? Yeah, we got results. So what's the next campaign? The answer is go find another 100 prospects, clean a list, run them through again. Go find another 100 prospects, clean a list, run it through again. And keep doing that on a weekly basis, because what you're doing is you're lead generating and you're building a list. Now, after you've run them through it, you put them into a drip campaign. Run them through it, put them into a drip campaign. In 3 to 6 months, you're going to run them through another aspirin campaign, or the aspirin campaign, or the aspirin campaign itself. We've got a campaign that is our Godfather campaign. I have been running this for 5 years. Now, the results over time, because we've rinsed and repeat, people get that campaign, our prospects get that campaign anywhere from 2 to 4 times a year, depending on what else we've got going on. People have told me, oh my God, Robin, I got a stack of dollar bills from you from that Godfather campaign before I bought. And they make a joke out of it. But we keep getting results. So we keep running the damn campaign. I don't care if people have seen it before. Every time we send it out, we get appointments, we get sales, we get results, which is another key. You will get bored with your marketing far before that thing will stop working. So you got to just keep doing it, rinse and repeat, make sure you get it better. Now, it's going to take you a little while. Even the aspirin campaign, it's going to take you a while to know how to pick a good list. It's going to take you a couple swings at bat to figure out what's a good qualified prospect and who's not. It's going to take your appointment setters some time to figure out the scripts, and they probably aren't following the scripts. That's the biggest thing I see. People get the recipe and then they don't follow the recipe and they say, well, it's not working. And I dig in, and the first 2 questions I can stump them. I'm like, well, okay, tell me what you're saying. Ring, ring, I'm your prospect. Hello, go ahead, pitch. And they sit there and I can feel that they're like scrambling. They don't have a script. See, that's not this. You got to have a process and a system. That means when somebody answers the phone, what they say is the same every time. If somebody says they're not interested, what they say, the response to that is the same every time. If they want to call back, there's a process for putting them into the callback and tracking that. It has to be dialed in. And to do this, even this campaign, is going to take you 4, 6, 8 weeks of really focused effort to get it working. Once you got it working, now you got an oil well, and that thing's going to feed you for a very long time. And then let's say, for example, you end up running, you build a list, you run 5,000 prospects through this, and now you want to run them through another dedicated campaign. Well, the reality is you take one of the campaigns I've given you, you replace the aspirin letter with another letter, but it's the same cadence. Emails, phone calls, LinkedIn. Just change the messaging, and you've got the same process built. That's the power of a marketing oil well. There's 3 things you got to stop, and I've already said it, but I'm going to reinforce it. And one is you got to stop trying a bunch of new things. Until you get these 4 things working, stop screwing around with trying this and trying that, and I'll give this a shot, and maybe I'll hire this telemarketing company. Maybe I'll hire I don't know, this designer who said he's going to be able to put some branding together. I'll try some band wraps. Stop trying new things until you get a small core number of campaigns working. Stop innovating. Please imitate before you innovate. This is so important. As people get the campaigns and they go, I don't like eggs. I don't want to put eggs in the chocolate cake mix. I want the chocolate cake. I want it to look like that, but I don't like eggs. I think I'm just going to substitute it for oil. Well, you're not going to get the same result. You change one ingredient in the mix, it changes everything. So imitate before you innovate, and stop leaving big, wide gaps of time between one campaign and the next. It's another mistake. Just had a client who called me up and said they did a fantastic Lunch and Learn seminar. This was last year. They did a fantastic Lunch and Learn seminar. They got 80 people to it, and they wanted me to know, they were calling me to kind of strategize at the event their pitch and how they were going to get people for appointments, which is really good. And so we were celebrating. They said, great. I said, you got 80 people. Here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to pitch. Here's what you're going to say. Here's what you're going to do to follow up. And then I said, and you're also going to run another one in 3 weeks. Now, the marketing manager was on. Basically, I heard the thump. I mean, there was like dead silence. I heard a thump, and I said, someone wake her up because we are going to do this again. And the answer was like, oh my God, Rod, this has been so much work to put this on and organize that. And I said, that's exactly why I want you to do it again in 3 weeks. Because if you go, this was great, and you celebrate and you take a break for 6 months, you got to start over again. I said, you just did this. We got 80 people. That means your list is interested in this topic. That means we're going to go back to everybody who said they were interested but couldn't make that date, and we're going to run another one. I'd really like it be in 2 weeks. Maybe next week would even be better. I know I'm not trying to kill. So the next 3, you're going to, as soon as that puppy's done, you're going to say, it was so successful, we're doing another one. You keep marketing to your list, and you've already got the lift from the first seminar. You've already got people aware and awake and interested, and the second one's going to be easier, and it's going to be easier for you to fill. It's going to be easier for you to deliver because it's all fresh in your mind. And then I want you to do another one, and I want you to do another one, and I don't want you to stop until people stop showing up. All right? And that's really key because, again, people start a campaign and they have a success and then they stop. And they leave 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, and you forget everything that you just did. So it's got to be fresh in your mind. All right, so with that foundation laid, let me give you the 4 most critical marketing oil wells. And folks, I'm telling you, if you get these 4 implemented and you do them really, really well, stop doing all this random stuff. Stop doing all the random acts and really dial these 4 in. I promise you, you're going to double your business in 12 months, and you will not spend as much on marketing as you think you will to double your business. Now, let me go through them real quick, and then we'll go into them in more detail. The first one is going to be a QBR cross-sell campaign. The second one is going to be weekly prospecting for new clients. That's weekly. We're going to then really dial in your inbound lead capture to close campaign, and we're going to do drip marketing. Now, this is the bad news. I don't want you to say, we're going to do QBRs and get those working. Then we're going to go to weekly prospecting. Then we're going to, no, you got to work on all 4 simultaneously, because if you're doing weekly prospecting, you're going to be generating leads. And if you're generating leads, you need an inbound lead capture to close campaign. And then once you start doing that, you're going to have to put people on a drip marketing system because not everybody's going to be ready to buy right now. And if you wait and say, I'm going to work on this first, then I'm going to work on this, then I'm going to work on this, forget it. Game over. You're dead. Business is not about doing like this nice, easy, neat, linear process, right? Business is like your body, all right? You need your lungs working, your heart needs to be pumping, your brain needs to work, the circulatory system has to work. If any one of those systems shuts down, you're in trouble, right? It's the same with marketing. You've got to have all systems functioning at the same time. It's not like you're saying, well, let me just make sure my lungs work. Well, then your heart's not beating and your brain's not functioning. That's no good, right? So we got to get all these systems working simultaneously to as well as we can, and that's what's going to give us the lift. Okay, now I think Jeff is back there. Jeff, yes, I could. They have it. See, you guys can't see this. I just got to describe this for a minute because Dave's sitting over here, right? The camera guys are here, and Jeff. I could see Jeff earlier, but they put a big black screen up so I wouldn't look at him. Yeah, and I'm not supposed to look at you either. I'm supposed to look at them, right? You know.
You're really supposed to look at them.
All right, I'm just telling you, hey, keeping it real, babe. All right, so Jeff, what are people saying on the questions?
Yeah, a lot of them really saying this is really great stuff here. One question that I have here that's come up a number of times is that can I still send weekly prospecting campaigns right now during this time?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you're going to want to change them a little bit. We've done a couple webinars. We've done some templates on that. So up on the dashboard, there's the coronavirus, the COVID-19 resources. Use those campaigns. And that's why opening night, I was talking about this there's some campaigns that I was giving people we're going to continue to build out. We actually, when everything started to go sideways and we had to send everybody home and we had to rejig all of our marketing, we did see a dip in sales, but actually our number of leads went up. So because people were freaking out and looking for somebody who could tell them what to do and some leadership, a lot of our clients, not just us, were starting to do webinars with chambers of commerce, with associations in their area. I know Peter Veleza did a session with the Medical Group Management Association. Those are all inbound leads. And so you might have to change your messaging and you change your offers a bit, but still continue to prospect. Do not stop prospecting. And you know, another thing, and I'm just telling you from our experience, I would never tell you to do something I'm not doing. So when we continued to reach out and prospect people, we just had to change the scripts a little bit. So when we were reaching out to people, when boot camp, for example, we had to call all of our clients, and we were trying to sell you guys boot camp tickets. So we're trying to sell you, and we had everything virtual. So we were calling clients, and I can tell you it was a very small percentage. There was about 1% or less. It was somewhere right around 1%, were really angry at us. They said, how can you be calling me in this crisis of what's going on? And they hung up on us, but it was a small 1%. 30 to 35%, if I'm remembering the numbers right, took our call and were thrilled that we called them and said, Robin, thank God you're doing this virtual camp. I'm so excited. I wasn't going to be able to go. I was so disappointed, but now that it's virtual and the date got moved, they're like, I'm in. So let me ask you this. If you're going to do prospecting, are you going to stop prospecting and getting let's say it's not even 35%. Let's say it's 10%. 10% of the audience that is going to be thrilled that you call, and 1% is going to hate you, and the other middle are just going to ignore you, right? Are you going to not prospect so that you don't upset the 1%? And so my answer is the 1% really aren't our best customers anyway. That's the reality. Or maybe they're just having a bad day. You know, there is times when we've called customers and we call them on the wrong day and they're really angry at us. And we've had people come back and apologize. And I tell my appointment setters, look, they're going through a lot right now. Let's just, it's okay. It's not, don't take it personal. It's really okay. But we are still going to be calling our customers. We're still going to sell. If anything, right now for us, what happened to us when everything got shut down, we needed to sell. Being able to sell and market is what turned us around in this crisis. That's one of the things that saved our bacon. And so, yes, you absolutely need to be prospecting right now. Use the campaigns that I gave you on opening night. They're going to be very, very powerful. All right? So great question. Keep the questions going, guys. I'm going to keep pausing to take those questions. So let's talk about marketing oil well number one, which is QBRs. See, now the reason we do QBRs and cross-sell campaigns, a cross-sell is, for example, if you've sold somebody managed services, then you also want to sell them voice over IP. You want to maybe sell them application development or print management or like lease them a printer or other solutions, because your customers, once you get a customer and they like you and they trust you, then you should think about everything else they're buying with an on-off switch, that you could be the toll position income, even if you're not delivering it, even if you're the one introducing them to that customer, you can still get paid for that. And so QBRs are really important for a number of reasons, but one big factor as you grow your business, you have to keep in mind that the more customers you need to hit whatever revenue or income goal that you have, the more stressful, the more problem-riddled, the more troublesome your business becomes. And I'll show you an example. If you wanted to add $1 million to your business at $300 per month, if that was what your average customer was worth, and you should, by the way, P.S., know what your average customer is worth, because you cannot do any planning without that. You would need 278 clients to add $1 million to your business. Now, as soon as I say 278 clients, I mean, you got to be thinking to yourself, think about onboarding, think about billing, think about customer service, right? You've just multiplied your challenges right there just by the customers. Now, if we can just bump that to 500 per month, we only need 167 clients. If we can bump it to 1,000, we only need 84 clients. See, it's starting to get better. At $5,000 per month, we only need to add 17 clients this year to add $1 million in recurring revenue to your business. At $10,000 per month, you only need 9. Now, right away, let me make another point. You should be asking yourself, if you like the model of $10,000 per month and you only need 9 clients, see, here's the power of target marketing, direct response target marketing, is you get to pick your customers. So we still live in America. It's still a free country, I think. We'll see where we end up. But as far as I know, there's no law saying you have to take anybody as your customer. That means when you're doing marketing, make sure you're targeting people where $10,000 a month is a rounding error, where it's not a big deal to them, where they spend $20,000, maybe $10,000 is a bargain to them. And when you start thinking in those terms, then you start thinking smarter about who are we targeting, what do we got to say to those people to get in the door so that we can get the 9 to 10 clients and add $1 million in MRR, right? So that's a good question to ask yourself, is how do you double sales without adding a single new client. Now, I've given you some QBR templates. I'm not going to comb through them. There's some email templates up here to request the meeting. If you've never done QBRs before, you want to send, there is an initial first-time email message that you send. It's in the document. And then there are reminders because you're going to be doing these again and again. And so therefore, use the reminder emails as appropriate. There's also some quick shot campaigns up there, and this is for cross-sell. This contains the 9-word email. These are campaigns that you can use to cross-sell other services to your clients in between the QBRs, or instead of QBRs, if you're really, really pressed for time and you can only do QBRs with a small group of your best clients, at least use the cross-sell campaigns for the others. So those are up there. They're self-explanatory. Use the chocolate cake recipe. Don't screw with these emails. They work, okay? Now, let's dig a little bit more into QBRs. I saw in the feed, I think Al Alper was something like BRR, like what was it, a business, oh shoot, now I had it. Like we thought he was cold. Jeff, what was it he was saying? It was a business risk review.
Yeah,
that was it, right? Is that right?
Exactly.
Is Al listening? If he's not, then screw that. Like we're not giving him any credit. If he's not listening, he doesn't get any credit. Anyway, the point is, you can call him whatever you want. I've heard, technology review meeting, strategy session, annual, semi-annual review, a virtual CIO meeting. I don't care what you call it, right? There's all kinds of names. But the additional benefit of doing these QBRs is it helps you build relationships. And right now, you're going to have to go back and justify yourselves to your clients. As I said, I think it was on opening night, I was mentioning that the reaction almost every business owner had when this whole crisis went down is they looked at their credit card, they looked at their bank account, and they said, what's not essential? What can I cancel? Where can I save money? Now, maybe they didn't come to you with that because you were the one who was essential to getting them to work remote, and they're going to need you when they come back. But at some point, there may be a secondary wave after things settle down where they're looking to cut costs. So right now, doing these meetings with your clients is essential to building that relationship and saving revenue. It also really helps you embrace your role as the chief technology officer or the virtual CIO leadership position, which is what you want. Everybody says you want to be seen as a leader. You want to be seen as a trusted advisor. Well, a trusted advisor then sits down, dress up, put in a suit on, sit down with your client and have a C-level discussion about technology, about productivity, about security, about disaster recovery planning, all of these things, compliance. See, this is what you're going to have to, these are the conversations you have in these quarterly business reviews. Watch for brewing client problems and failures, because if you're never meeting with your client, you might all of a sudden get the email and they say, sorry, we're going with somebody else, and they'll catch you off guard because you never even saw it coming. It also is to remind them of everything you're doing or have done, to address any problems you might have, like security inadequacies. Maybe there is new compliance rules that they're not compliant with and you need to recommend some things there. Obviously, to sell additional solutions that they need and discuss new projects. So these are all the reasons, the financial benefit to conducting QBRs. Now, I also want to point out, even though there's all these financial benefits to you, this should not just be a sales meeting. That's certainly part of the agenda, but you don't want to make it just a sales pitch, because if every quarterly meeting is nothing but a sales pitch, pretty soon they're going to be out, right? So let me go through some frequently asked questions to QBRs that I get all the time. As I know we've got some, and Jeff, I'll come to you in a minute if you can be lining up some really good ones if I don't answer them, okay? One question, how frequently should you conduct them? Right now, every key client needs a QBR type meeting so you can resell them on the value you bring to help them plan on getting back to work and surviving this. It's really essential. After lockdown, it's up to you to decide. Now, if you've got, 300 customers and it's just you, I know that's going to be a little bit daunting to do QBRs with all of them. So at a minimum, I would say carve out your top best clients and identify them, and definitely, absolutely have a meeting with them. You might also move to annually. That would be the absolute minimum number of times I would do this with every single client. That's key to you. And if you're going to do that, do it at the end of the year or near the end of the year so you can get a budget together for IT for next year. That's part of this process. So annually at a minimum, and then you can use cross-sell campaigns and webinars and seminars and other ways to cross-sell your clients throughout the year. Semi-annually might be perfect for small clients who don't need quarterly meetings. Quarterly meetings are absolutely essential, and this is really important, especially if you're their IT department. Every successful MSP that I've talked to, the larger ones, not only do they say this is a requirement for them, but they require their clients to have these meetings. It's a condition of doing business. That's how important it is, because it's about connection, it's about being strategic, it's about planning for them. It's as much customer service as it is sales. And then some clients, depending on the projects and the client and what's going on, you might even run them monthly, all right? And some even do weekly if there's really critical projects. Another question, should you do it for every client? Absolutely for the top clients, but again, if you sold them a QBR as part of the value, and I know some of you are taking my sales letters and you're using that as part of the value, why hiring you? You cannot say, well, I'm really busy and I'll just skip it this month, right? You've got to do it. It's part of your commitment that you made to that client. Smaller clients, again, might be fine semi-annual or an annual meeting. Make sure you do the cross-sell in between, and consider hiring an account manager. This is another big thing. It's a math problem. If you've got 100 clients and there's no salesperson managing them, no account manager managing them, you are just responding when they need something. You want to hire an account manager who can nurture those relationships, who can be proactive with those relationships so that you don't have to do it all. That's probably one of the biggest reasons why QBRs don't happen. You have to do it. So get a process in place. It is a marketing oil well, and train somebody else to do the QBRs. Even if someone else is doing all the prep work, scheduling the appointments, pulling the warranty master report, doing the rapid fire tools report or the audit IT, all of that. Get somebody else to do all that. You sit down with the client, you do the meeting, and then you hand off the recommendations to someone else. So it's really important. Hire account managers, grow your business. Another one is, do I have to go on site? Now, normally I would say yes, but obviously right now, all of our clients are doing those with GoToMeeting or a Zoom meeting. That's where we are. A lot of them are finding this works pretty good. So some of them are going to keep that as an option moving forward. And another question I get is, what do I do if a client won't schedule the meeting? That's a red flag. Why won't your client schedule a meeting with you? So use the email templates I've given you. That's step one. If they do not respond to those, call and find out what's going on. They may have misunderstood what they thought the meeting was about. Maybe they're just really busy. Maybe they didn't get your emails. Who knows? It could be that they're ready to fire you. You've got to get in there and find out. If a client won't take a meeting with you, there is a relationship problem there. I can guarantee it. Another question I get is, how do I get the CEO to attend? Well, sell it as part of the value on the front end to hiring you, right? That way they expect it. It's normal. It's part of what you're doing. It's an expectation. The other thing is, don't geek out in the meeting. This is a C-level discussion. Do not get into the weeds of all the technology. You want to talk about disaster recovery, regulatory compliance if they're not being compliant, how to keep their business safe, how to make their employees more productive, how to lower the total cost of ownership and make every employee more productive, because that's exactly what every CEO wants. Don't make it a sales pitch every time. Again, that's a component. It doesn't even have to be a component of every one, but don't make it just a sales pitch every time, or they won't want to sit in the meeting. And make it interesting. You know, another thing you might do is compare them to your other clients. So you know roughly how many other clients what other clients are budgeting for IT, what other clients are doing. Create your scorecard in the workbook. I don't have it here. I was like reaching for my workbook. The workbook that we mailed you, there is a client success scorecard that we have given you. Why don't you create one of those for your clients and have them scored on how productive, how efficient, how effective, how secure they are? Give them a scorecard. I know Rapid Fire Tools has some of those baked in. CEOs are very competitive by nature. If you go in and you say, your score is pretty low in these areas compared to all my other clients, here's where you are on the bell curve. You know, when you take your kid into the doctor and they kind of show you the curve of where they are, oh, they're really small, they're really tall, or they're, whatever. Everybody wants to know that, right? Your clients want to know it too. So if you bring that kind of information to them, it's valuable, and keep it brief. You should 45 minutes to 60 minutes max. Beyond that, it's dragging on way too long, unless the client needs the time, of course. But once you get these things rolling, they should be sweet, short, you're prepared, you go in, you do the meeting, and you're out. All right, now another thing I did post up here is a video session, a panel of our clients that are doing great with QBRs. They're generating a lot of revenue. So I've posted that up as a resource so you can know how to conduct the meeting. But when you're preparing for it, what you want to do is review any notes from the last meeting, get a status update on projects so you're prepared there, identify any new opportunities or products, prepare proposals that you might recommend. Now, this is another really key tip. Before you meet with the client, identify some areas where you think they need to upgrade, they might need to add on some advanced cybersecurity, whatever it is. Prepare a statement of work. That way, when you go in and sit down with the client, if it's appropriate and they say, yeah, I'd be interested in upgrading to that phone system. That way you don't have to go back, create the statement of work, and come back and get in front of them again. Have it prepared going in. If it's appropriate, you pull it out, you say, here's the proposal, and you could get them to sign it right there. It's really efficient. Now, if you're in that meeting and you're getting a sense that they're really in trouble and they're not going to spend the money or it's not important, you don't have to give it to them, but have it prepared and ready to go. If appropriate, generate the warranty master report, use audit IT or rapid fire tools. Consider running a dark web scan as part of your regular process for preparing. So another question on that is, what kind of tools do I need? Really, you don't need any tools to do a QBR, but the three that we hear our clients using over and over again are Audit for IT, Rapid Fire, and Warranty Master. And they all have booths here, and I think they're all doing discounts and specials. So now's the time to go and if you're going to buy, do it now because you could get the discount. Jeff, does that pretty much jive what everyone's saying on the questions there?
Yeah, I think you got everything. I wanted to give a quick shout out to Wade DeVore talking about virtually. He just signed a 150 user environment, completely virtual, did everything through Courier, didn't even meet up with a person other than virtual. So yeah, if you can sign 150, you can do QBRs with your existing clients virtually as well.
Absolutely. Great news. Love to hear it. All right. Now, again, I've already gone over this, so I'm going to go quick. What should the agenda be? Normally, you would summarize the agenda on a piece of paper, resell them on what you do, what you've done for them, update them on projects, address customer service issues, discuss business growth, suggestions that you have, agree to next steps, and then, of course, ask for referrals. Don't ever forget that. You're in there with a client, unless they're really pissed at you. I don't know, even then ask, what the hell? What are they going to say, right? Get the hell out of my office. Okay, well, would it be do a Chris Voss, would it be a ridiculous idea for you to introduce me to one of your, no, don't do that. I don't even think Chris Voss would think that's a good idea. But ask for referrals. If they're happy, you just say, hey, I really appreciate you. As you probably know, we get our best clients like you from referrals. Would you happen to know anybody you could introduce me to? Would it be inappropriate to ask you for a referral? Something like that, trigger a no. See, Chris would be very happy with me because I turned it into a no question, all right? And so now, different agendas now. If you're going in right now, the thing I'd say is be prepared for them to ask for a discount, a deferral, reduced service agreement. Again, I keep mentioning Chris Voss. Chris Voss is a great friend of mine. He wrote the book, Never Split the Difference, in case you guys aren't familiar. The book is about negotiations, and it's the single best book on negotiations I have ever read. He's brilliant. And we actually have a resource for all of you. We just did a special webinar with him on this topic of when clients come to you to cancel, want to pay you less, defer payments, whatever. We have a whole process we outlined on what to do when those clients come to you so you don't have to discount and not get paid, all right? So be prepared. Go watch that session. It's up on the dashboard, up on our member dashboard. I don't know if it's posted in this area here, but log into the dashboard, watch it. It was free to all members, all levels of membership. And it doesn't even matter, even if you're not an active member, you bought the toolkit, 10 years ago, you still have access to the dashboard and you have access to that. So make sure you watch it. That's going to be really important. And anticipate new projects for remote work. Because it may be, like Rob Ray said in opening night, what they're seeing as we go back to work, and he had said that some other countries are already opening up and going back to work. And so a lot of it is still figuring out, what people are going to stay working from home and how to make that secure. He said there's new devices showing up on the network, new ways people are accessing information. So it's not smoothed out yet. And you might want to go back to each of your clients with some sort of remote work plan, some sort of disaster recovery plan, saying if this ever happens again, this is what we want to have in place so the next time it's much smoother, you stay secure, you're ready to go. Okay? Now, I'll just mention the QBR campaign is a core campaign that we give to our Infusionsoft clients. So for those of you who are watching and you're Infusionsoft clients of ours, make sure you use that campaign. This blueprint I've posted up for everybody so you can see the workflow of how it goes to schedule the appointments. But if you don't have Infusionsoft and you're interested, of course, go to mspmarketingcrm.com. All right, so that's QBRs. The next one is weekly prospecting, all right? And a major reason for failure for salespeople and MSPs not growing is they don't prospect enough. They don't keep their pipeline full. So here's my rules for weekly prospecting. It has to happen every week. That's why we call it weekly prospecting. Not once in a while prospecting, not when you get around to it, prospecting weekly. And the other thing is trade shows, search engine optimization, the occasional speaking agreement, referrals, the occasional JV partnerships. They're all great, but they're supplements. They do not replace weekly prospecting. So you've got to get a marketing oil well in place, like the aspirin campaign as an example, and you got to crank that thing every week, even if you're doing search engine optimization and running ads on Facebook and doing a seminar this week and doing a trade show next week. Doesn't matter. It's got to be weekly. It's got to be direct and not passive. And what I mean by that is it has to be reaching out directly to a prospect you want, not hoping and waiting for them to search online and find you or see your ad. Newsletters, tech tip postcards, they're drip campaigns. They're not direct prospecting campaigns. That's not to take away from them. But if you're going to get more clients, you've got to do weekly prospecting that's not passive. It has to have a multimedia component. You're not going to be successful if you just do online, just like you won't be successful if you just do offline. So if you're just doing telemarketing, if you will add a letter and an email or a LinkedIn connection, you're going to see exponentially higher results. So it has to have multimedia, and it's got to have a compelling offer that leads to a sales event. Now, a sales event can be that 10-minute call. Back when things get back to normal, it could be an in-person meeting, an IT assessment, a network assessment, a security assessment. It could be a webinar where you're going to put them on a webinar and you're going to sell them a $1,000 cybersecurity solution or audit or something like that, right? So whatever prospecting you're doing, it has to have a compelling offer. Now, the other thing I've posted up here, and I want you to take a look at this with me. This is my attempt, my ugly, non-graphic expertise attempt to show you how this works out. So up at the top, there's a chosen target universe of prospects. So you decide who your target market is, and then you clean that list. And the direct marketing communication, direct mail, telemarketing, LinkedIn message, direct social media, email, so forth, you're acquiring the list, you're cleaning, and then you're running it through some sort of prospecting campaign. Out of that, the three big general categories, one, they're going to be not qualified. You got to, suppress them on your list. The other option would be there's no response, and in that case, you put them into your drip marketing. And the third is they're interested or they need a call back, and then they got to be put into some sort of sales follow-up process, okay? Now, indirect lead generation is where you create ads or you do social or you do SEO marketing, you do content marketing, you strategically place them, and you wait for the fish to bite. Okay, so this is supplemental. This is great. I mean, if you're doing paid social media or free social media, free content posting, trade shows, magazines, when I say weekly prospecting, I'm talking about direct marketing communication. That's, again, I want to be clear. I'm not saying don't do SEO, don't do paid free content. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you need at least one marketing oil well that is direct marketing communication. It goes out every single week. On this next slide, you can see, and I've posted post it again. I've posted the slides. You can see this. This is our weekly prospecting campaign for our Godfather letter. And this is a letter that goes out. It has multimedia baked in. So we're doing direct mail telemarketing. We're direct marketing them on Facebook. So we're doing retargeting as well, emails. And after we run somebody through this, and people are getting this 2-3 times a year, by rough estimate, 8% need to be clean, 6% are booking an appointment, 5% are asking for a callback, 25% are saying not interested, 0.04% say take me off the list, and it's less than 1% are ready to buy right now. I have been running this marketing oil well for over 5 years now. And to the same prospects, I mean, we keep adding new and they refresh. They're roughly getting it about 2 to 3 times a year, same campaign. Let me show you the power of this. I pulled this from our system. This is a snapshot of everybody who's gone through that campaign and the buyers. So over a year's time, 17.4% have bought. Now, these are cold prospects and inbound leads, and 17.4% have bought. Now, here's what you got to know. You might not know how significant that is. Most B2B direct mail, the average response, which isn't a purchase rate, the average just response, raising their hand, booking an appointment, is 0.5%. We are getting a 17.4% purchase rate off of this campaign. And that's because it is a marketing oil well. We've run it again and again. We cleaned the list. We've gotten it better, and we've tightened it down over time. Now, I'm not saying you have to run the Godfather. There's dozens of campaigns up on the dashboard that you can run. Pick one. Run it again and again, all right? Aspirin campaign will work. The Godfather campaign will work. There's a whole bunch of campaigns. Pick the one that you like and run with it again and again. Now, another question is, how much prospecting is enough? You're saying weekly, but to how many? Well, you gotta work backwards from the goal. So the first step I want you to do is get historical data. So in the previous 12 months, look at what has happened. You know, you have to go back and dig a little bit. What's your average sale or opportunity? What percentage of the clients that you sold took your premium offering? So you might find out, like us, we find that 28% of the people who buy the toolkit when they first, now I'm not talking later on because it's much higher later on, but when they first buy, 28% will buy the rapid implementation accelerators option. We know that. That's the luxury high end. Now, over time, more people will buy them. But initially, that's how you raise your prices and you make every client more valuable. So what percentage took that? Total new clients sold, how many proposals did you create, how many initial appointments, how many qualified leads did you generate, and how many raw leads did you generate? You got to go back and find that historical data. Now, another thing I want to make sure you realize is we're talking about prospects. So don't count customers in this. Customers are a whole different pipeline. They're going to close at a different rate. They're going to have a higher value rate. I'm talking just about prospects. Once you get that historical data, you're going to set a goal. Now, let's suppose your goal is to add $500,000 in recurring revenue. And let's suppose, this is just an example, but let's suppose you find out 50% of all the leads you generated were unqualified. So that means only 50% were really the sweet spot prospects that you want. And by the way, that's not unusual. If you think, oh my God, how could half be unqualified? When you put everybody into a big bucket and everything that comes in online and everybody you meet at a trade show and every referral, you might find out that about 50%, maybe it's even like 60, 70% are not qualified. That's okay. Figure it out. Then let's say 70% of those qualified leads move to an appointment. 80% of those go to the proposal stage, and 80% of the proposals then close, and your average MRR is $2,000 a month. Let's just say that was an example, all right? If those numbers were true for you, then you need 21 clients in order to get $500,000 in recurring revenue if $2,000 per month. You get the idea, right? You need 26 to 27 proposals because 80% of those will close, which will give you your 21 clients. You need 32 to 33 initial appointments because 80% will go to proposal, which then you get the ones that are going to go, 80% are going to go to proposals, and then half of those are going to close. You need 46 to 47 qualified leads. And then you would need about 93 leads, considering that 50% will be unqualified, or 8 leads per month. All right, so you can see I went back and got historical data, I set a goal, and I work backwards. That's what you need to do. Now, if your appointment setter is generating about 4% response, meaning for every 100 people they call, they're getting 4 appointments, you would need to prospect 2,325 people per year, or 194 per month, or 45 per week. So another way of looking at this is you need to prospect 45 people per week to hit your $500,000 goal, or 3 SAT appointments per month with new prospects. And that's what you've got to keep in mind. And you tweak your marketing oil well to make sure that it's getting those results or better results. And maybe, like this is a favorite quote from Jim Rohn, you have to make up in numbers what you lack in skill. So if you are really sucky, you can't just call 2,300. You've got to call 4,600. You got to double that to get the results. Well, if that's what you got to do to get your results, that's what you got to do. Now, you want to try and make it better all the time, but you got to work it based on the numbers. Another thing I want to point out on this is you got to have an investor mindset. So some people start prospecting and they're doing it for a couple weeks or a couple months, and they go, I'm really not getting anything out of this. I'm not getting any leads. And that's because really broke, struggling MSPs and small business owners are stuck in this buy now crowd. They focus entirely on harvest only. What you want to think about is an investor. An investor does not invest in a stock, does not buy a piece of real estate and expect next month and 6 months to get their return. They know that they're going to have to plant the seeds and get the return over time. So as you're making these calls, you're cleaning a list, you're making connections, you're learning information. You're going to run into people that say, hey, I'm in a contract, but my contract's up in 6 months. Why don't you call me then? That's a seed. Make sure in your CRM system you can capture that, put that information in, have an automatic reminder come up so that in 3 months, 2 months before the contract's up, you're calling them and saying, hey, how about we get in there with a competitive bid? That's a seed. That's a value. Somebody might say, I'm interested, but call me back next week because I'm going on vacation. That's planting a seed. You've cleaned a list. You've gotten a little bit of awareness here. You've maybe gotten some more email addresses. See, these are all investments, right? You don't want to just think harvest. So Jeff, let me go back to you real quick. How are people reacting to this? What are they thinking?
Yeah, let me see. You're getting there's just a lot of questions overall with it. I'm not seeing anything that I need to bring to you right now, Robin.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to hang around after the next couple sessions, and we'll make sure we answer questions. Dave and I'll, get on camera and do that. So if you got questions, post them up, and we'll be taking those questions later. Let me keep marching on. The time is ticking. The next is an inbound lead capture to close campaign. So when a lead comes in your office, whether it's a phone call or it's a form fill or someone hands you a business card, it has to be captured into a sales system. It's got to be put somewhere. It's got to be tracked. It's got to be measured. What was the source? What was the outcome? Do they want to call back? Did they book an appointment? What happened? And if you don't, this is where I'm saying like a CRM is important, because the other handout I've got up there that you can take a look at, this is our inbound lead follow-up process for our Godfather. So once a lead comes in, these are all the systems and processes that kick off. Now, I'm not going to go through this in detail. I'm going to let you look at it because I am, literally running out of time. But you can see that this is, if you tried to execute this manually, it would never happen. And we're getting 200, 300 inbound leads a week at this point. You cannot do that if you're just doing it through your inbox and an Excel spreadsheet. You're going to drop balls. You're going to actually let money leak out of your bucket. Specifically, here's how money is leaking out of your bucket, and that is zero or poor inbound lead capture. So you get leads. It's a stack of business cards. I make a joke and people laugh when they're in person. It's like, it's the stack of business cards with the rubber band around it in your office drawer. It's just like people you've met and you never followed up with. No inbound follow-up whatsoever, failing to follow up at all. If somebody says, hey, I need a call back, or, maybe in a year, failing to adequately follow up on referrals. Failure to persist on unconverted leads, and not keeping data and notes on prospects. This is so important. If you've got salespeople, you absolutely have to enforce rules that they put notes in the CRM of clients and prospects and deals and promises they made and what's happened and when they're supposed to call back. If that salesperson leaves and they don't document that, your whole CRM just walked out the door with them, and hopefully they don't go to one of your competitors. You need to have it captured somewhere in a system. And you could say, well, how bad is it, Robin? There was a study done in Harvard Business Review, and they found out that 71% of leads that are generated are never followed up on. And the ones that are, the average number of touches is 1.3 times. That's abysmal. Let me give you another stat. We call on hundreds of MSPs every week. Roughly 62% of the phone calls we make go right to voicemail, and 14% have broken systems. So it rings out, or the mailbox is full, or it disconnects, or any number of dysfunctional things. Now think about it. These are the phone numbers that are on the websites, because that's what we're calling. We're calling the number they are publicly posting, and 14% are just completely wrong, ring out, no voicemail. It's a mess. So step one in this process, in this marketing oil well, is fix your phones. And I've posted up here a process document of how to avoid burning good prospects when that call comes in. It's all about how to fix your phones. I've given you scripts. I've given you a checklist. I'm not going to go deep dive into this. It's pretty self-explanatory, but make sure you fix your phones. That's step one. Step two in this lead capture to close oil well is you want to set up some sort of tracking system. What you're seeing here on the screen is a widget in Infusionsoft. And the widget helps our clients look at how many opportunities do we have, how many are in the assessment, how many need proposal, how many proposals are out, how much revenue. See, you need some sort of dashboard. And in Infusionsoft, this is what it shows you. But even in whatever CRM you have, you need some sort of dashboard to keep track of the leads and where they are in various stages, because as you grow, you are not going to be able to do this manually. And if you have salespeople, you really want to have that transparency. So that's step two, get some sort of dashboard. Step three, flow chart what's supposed to happen. We're very visual people, right? I'm sure that you are too. So what helps me when I'm creating an inbound lead process, draw out using just a piece of paper. Draw out on paper what's supposed to be happening. Now, I use a software called Lucid Chart. It's not included in Infusionsoft. I'm not recommending it. That's just what we use to draw these diagrams. But whenever we're doing a campaign, we sit and we literally draw it out in a flow chart so we know exactly what's supposed to be happening, who's going to, what is their responsibility. And then after you do that, step four, start tracking your numbers and improving your process, your oil well, your systems, and see what kind of impact that has. So this is what I mean when I say that this can impact your sales, double your sales. We took sales funnel averages from 100 MSPs. It was a poll we did. It was roughly about a year ago. And 72 of the 100 MSPs, they were generating 72 leads per year. Okay, so about 6 per month qualified leads. They were setting 35 appointments. They were generating about 24 proposals a year. They were closing about 12 deals. The average first year income or deal for a new client was $25,000. So if you add that up, that's $301,000 roughly every year that they are producing with this average. Now, let's suppose we tighten this up. We do these marketing oil wells that I'm talking about, right? Now, if you look at it, if we just bump the lead generation by 10%, not 20, not doubling leads, right? Just 10%. So now we're generating 79 leads instead of 72. Then we do a better job at following up, and we get 48%, instead of 48% booking an appointment, we get 58%. And instead of going to not going proposal, our sales process improves. Now we have 37 proposals generated because 79% of the appointments that go to proposal. We increase our close rate to 60%. Again, it's just a 10% bump over where it was, 22 deals. And then we offer a good, better, best option, and we bump the average sale by 10%, so it's now $27,000. Now, with that 10% increase in every single one of those levels, that annual payout is $607,000. In case you don't have a calculator handy, that's a $306,000 difference by doing nothing more than increasing the productivity of every step in the sales process by a mere 10%. And 10%, folks, you could do that with half your brains tied behind your back. It just takes a little bit of paying attention and having a system and a process. Now, if you don't have a good sales process, a little tip or recommendation for you, get my Salesapalooza program. If you're an Accelerators member or Producers Club, you already have this. Don't go buy it again. So you already have it. Go up in the dashboard under products and you'll see it. And you can get that if that's of interest to you. Use your Robin Bucks and it's on sale right now. Now, the fourth and final marketing oil well is drip marketing. Now, fortunately, this is the easiest one, right? Now, to be clear, drip marketing kicks in after you've completely gone through the capture to close process. So, a lead comes in, maybe they didn't respond. You tried, you followed up, you called, you emailed, you linked it, they didn't follow up after a couple weeks. You're dropping them into a drip system. Maybe, maybe you did a proposal and they wanted to think it over. So whatever it is, this kicks in after you've completely followed up on the lead. And when you think about drip marketing, here's a question you got to ask yourself. And it may be a mystery. Maybe you'd say, yeah, this is a question I ask all the time. Why would a prospect take time to reach out to you, ask for more information, maybe call your office? Maybe they schedule an appointment, they sit down with you, they meet with you. Maybe you go so far as to create a proposal and then not buy. Why would that happen? Why would that be? There's 6 big reasons, and this is important for you to note because you got to go back and re-engineer your sales process or your follow-up. One could be they're not that ready or interested, or they're just not ready to buy yet. They're just kind of looking and they're not ready to pull the trigger. Number 2, maybe something happened that interrupted the buying process. So they're very interested, but then all of a sudden coronavirus hits and they have to send everybody home and their world's on fire. Or maybe their top sales guy leaves, or maybe one of their biggest accounts fires them, or maybe they get a huge opportunity. And so now your proposal is just put on the back burner. So that's a possibility. Maybe they didn't like or trust you. That's obviously an option. Your solution cost more than they expected. They didn't like your recommendations, or they chose to stay with the devil they know. They thought, well, maybe whatever. You didn't impress them to the point where they felt like they had to make a change. Now, here's what's really cool. Almost all of these can be fixed with consistent, well-designed drip marketing content. Now, I say almost all of them, like if they didn't like your recommendations, like for example, if you're just insisting that they need a better cybersecurity solution and they don't want to spend the money, it might not be a good fit, right? So you might just need to get rid of them, or they don't want to spend the money, and again, maybe you don't want them. That's why those 2 are not bolded. But the rest, 1, 2, 3, and 6 are all things that can be fixed with consistent follow-up. So my suggestion to you is go back and assess your current drip marketing process to address all 6 of these reasons for not buying. So in this oil well, here's what you need to do. Step 1, make sure every single qualified lead are entered into some type of CRM or marketing automation platform. Every web form needs to feed directly into that system where a follow-up campaign can be kicked off. Every LinkedIn connection needs to get into that CRM. Every referral, every inbound call, every trade show lead, everything. All right? That's step 1. Step 2 is start doing email drip marketing. It's the easiest, cheapest thing. This is the feeder content I was talking a little bit about in my earlier session on generating more qualified leads. If you can send weekly emails driving to this feeder content as part of your drip, it positions you properly, it keeps people engaged, and when they're ready to buy, they're going to reach out to you. So it could be an article, cyber tips, a video, an audio podcast. And again, some of you who are Accelerators members, Producers Club members, or Done For You services, we actually can help you with that if that's a need. But in general, start doing email marketing, because we did a poll. I think we did this poll December of last year. And we found out that 58% of the MSPs that we polled are not doing any email marketing at all, or they're doing it so inconsistent, they're not getting any results. So I would love for you to start doing offline newsletters and postcards and whatnot, but at a minimum, do email. It's free, it's cheap, it's easy. The third thing you want to do is start posting to social media sites, because again, if your prospects are following you on YouTube, if they're following you on LinkedIn, if you're connected to them on Facebook, you can start posting daily micro content, which are those mini posts that I talked about in the qualified lead process, qualified lead session I did earlier. Weekly feeder content, core content every 1 to 3 months, which is like a webinar, a free report, a seminar, could be an ebook, right? And again, go back and watch my session on the ultimate secret to generating more qualified leads. So that's number 3, is use social media for drip marketing. And then number 4, start sending monthly offline content, all right? Newsletter, a magazine. You can start a magazine. We started MSP Success Magazine. What you're seeing there is a big, elaborate drip marketing campaign. And if you really get sophisticated, the reason magazines are cool is because you can sell ads. So it's a marketing campaign that you can actually monetize. So eventually, when you get to that stage, start with email, start with the easy stuff first, but then move to print and offline, tech tip, postcard. And again, remember, this is a very soft prospecting campaign. So you want to reserve more direct and aggressive appointment setting and sales campaigns for every 3 to 6 months, like the aspirin campaign, the Godfather campaign. You don't want to send that to a prospect every single month. They'll wear out real quick. Once every 3 to 6 months is really good. And again, shameless plug, if you need help with content creation, we actually do it. So that's it. I think we're right up against time. Let's see. Jeff, any final comments from anyone before I turn it back over to Dave?
No, they've been coming in fast and furious of comments, and I'm getting a ton of support from our Producers Club members and Accelerators Club members, and really, I think we've got just about everything answered through all of that, and so
Okay.
I think we should be ready for Dave.
Perfect. All right, I am going to turn things back over to Dave D. All right.
For a short period, because then you're coming
Boom.
right back.
I
You're just
am.
going to go have a quick break.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so hopefully you took a lot of notes. Don't forget, Rob and I are going to be doing a Q&A later tonight. So if you've got questions, enter them in there. And if the Producer Club members don't answer it, Robin will answer it for you, and Jeff will take all of those down. All right, so we've got a special little session here just so Robin can get a little break. It's just a little short session because we want to talk to, how you guys doing?
Good.
We got Tom and Pedro. And do we have our main man there, Danny? He's on here as well. Danny, last time I saw you, man, you were wearing a tutu.
I figured that was going to come up, Dave. I don't think
I wanted to bring
it
it up.
the bearded man this year.
And a little bit earlier, one of the Better Your Best contestants was also wearing a tutu. I have to say, you were much sexier in it, though.
I wore it better. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, exactly. So what we want to talk about here, you guys, is just a little bit about how you guys are using the MAP Infusionsoft system in your businesses and how it's working for you and the results that you're getting from it. But first, let's start with you, Pedro. How was it before you had MAP Infusionsoft?
It was messy.
Was it ugly?
It was messy. It was messy keeping track of everything. So it's very disorganized. It was hard to know how many calls were being done, how many things went out, things of that nature. So it was just messy. And scaling that was very difficult.
Okay. Mm-hmm. How about for you? Same thing?
Yeah, ditto. Trying to track that stuff through spreadsheets. We had a CRM, but it had nowhere near the automation or the connections with all of our other systems. So, it was impossible, really. And once you start scaling, you add more people in, and they're trying to participate in the process. It fell apart.
Because it's funny because the more successful you become, the more chaotic it becomes. Isn't that right? Would you guys say that?
Mm-hmm. Well, yep.
So Pedro, Robin just went over the 4 major marketing oil wells that you need in the business. So talk about some of the systems that you're using that are now automated by the MAP Infusionsoft program.
There's pretty much everything. One of the things that we have done was the technology business reviews. You guys call them quarterly business reviews. Mm-hmm. That's automated. We have a referral program, all automated through Infusionsoft. We have all of the campaigns that are critical for us, like the Aspirin version 2 campaign, the Poker Chip, the Godfather, the Band-Aid campaign, the Voice of IP letter. There's a whole ton in there. I pretty much know them all.
Yeah, during your presentation, you were talking about, I've got so many things going on. Mm-hmm. Right? And go ahead.
So, for example, one of the most critical things that we did was, and most people don't do this, is we attach, with the help of the Sherpa, pretty much every single one of the forms on our website and every single one of the Calendly links it's all going back to Infusionsoft.
Wow.
So if anybody signs up for a newsletter, blogs, the forum, whatever it may be, a discovery call, it all goes back into Infusionsoft. Now we can track it, we know what it is. And now we have a very nicely organized list that we know how many people have in the updating to the cybersecurity tips, the newsletters, the blogs, who received what, and it's just nice. And the beauty of this is that you can delegate.
Okay, perfect. Danny, Pedro just mentioned Sherpa. What the heck is a Sherpa?
A Sherpa is an Infusionsoft guru and expert, somebody that we've got on staff here. We have a few full-time Sherpas, and they carry a lot of the load, man. They're able to, and our clients engage with them either right at the beginning, just to kind of get started through that launch period, or there's a lot of our clients that have a Sherpa that they work with on a month-to-month basis as part of our Run For You program.
Okay. So
they can outsource all that back-end stuff inside of Infusionsoft. It takes that load off, and we can carry that for them.
So Tom, one of the things that you talked about in your presentation was if there's something that you're doing, a task that you're doing yourself, right? Teach somebody else to do it. So are you actually in Infusionsoft putting the campaigns together and all that kind of stuff?
No, I did early on just because I'm kind of a geek and I still like to play. And it's kind of hard to delegate something I couldn't do myself. But no, I've got a marketing team, 2 young ladies that work in Infusionsoft all day. My salesperson is in Infusionsoft doing that, and I basically get reports out, which is awesome.
Yeah, fantastic. So what have you guys found to be the best thing about the map Infusionsoft? I mean, what's the greatest impact that it's had on not only your business, but Rob is going to be talking about sanity in the next, and I can see you guys smiling, right? So talk a little bit about that, how that's helped you in that area.
So I would say as a CEO, the most important thing is how do you free up more time by delegating so you can function with those vital functions as a CEO, will bring the actual result, the money, right? So by having the Sherpa, for example, I have been able to grasp all my ideas that I have in my head, put it on paper, give it to the Sherpa, it becomes a reality. Then my team takes care of all that and just runs with it. And then I can go ahead and function on growing the company.
Oh, okay. So you actually, I didn't realize this. So you actually are coming up with ideas, and you're working with your Sherpa, which is a great name, by the way. You're working with the Sherpa, and then the Sherpa helps implement those ideas. And then your team goes. How about for you, Tom?
Yeah, the automation parts in Infusionsoft have been tremendous for us. We did a campaign that we built ourselves based off The Godfather, but it was a whole different process. And I think we had 500 companies that we were targeting with that. And it was over a 12-week period. And when you started staggering that, and we're doing 50 a week, with the first letter, and then you've got 3 calls that are following up, and then the second letter is coming in. When you diagram that out, it was freaking complicated. And Infusionsoft made it simple. They walked in and it was just, okay, this is what I'm doing today, I'm done.
Right. So Danny, what about somebody who's watching this right now and they're saying, yeah, but I heard that Infusionsoft is really confusing, right? And by the way, just so everybody knows, I use Infusionsoft in my business. I've used it from its inception when it was a heck of a lot more expensive than it was and not customized, right? So the beautiful thing about what you're getting with the map in Infusionsoft is that it's already customized and campaigns are in it, ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
That's right. So Dave, a lot of times I'll tell people, you can go to Home Depot and you can get everything you need to build a house from Home Depot. And you can buy all the supplies, all the wood, they can even pre-cut some of the boards for you. But when it comes down to it, you got to go build that house yourself. And people that are trying to build a system from scratch with all of the templates and the campaigns and like a QBR campaign, as simple as that QBR campaign is on paper, when you start to program a robot or a system to do that, it takes a lot of work. So what the real value in what Robin's built is all of those campaigns are sitting there as part of the map system. And Infusionsoft happens to be the delivery mechanism that we're utilizing. And it's been phenomenal. And we chose it for a lot of reasons. It's the industry leader in the automation that it's capable of and what it does for small businesses. It's fantastic. But customizing that to an IT service company and to get that ready for MSPs, all those campaigns that's really where the secret sauce is on this, and the time savings, the money savings, and the difficulty of setting all that up. That's where those migraines come from. And I'm not going to tell you that this is just a piece of cake. This is just something you're going to flip a switch and your life is good, and you're going to be sitting on stage with Pedro and Tom. It's not that simple, but we have those Sherpas to help you get it going and to customize things you need, and you don't have to start from scratch. And that's the real win.
Yeah, and again, when I heard about it, I was like, God, this is so brilliant to have the campaigns that are in Toolkit, right? But now they're ready to rock. You know, tomorrow, one of the things I'm going to talk about is that knowledge is not power. Action is power. How has this helped you implement the stuff?
Tremendously. It has helped me implement on every single aspect you can think of. The reason being, once again, is me as a leader, I come up with a vision, I want to implement, but I'm only one guy. So I have to delegate. I have a team of 2 people, and we went at it ourselves. And I'm a very smart dude. I don't want to sound cocky, but I was doing my stuff.
And sexy, according to yourself.
Oh, hell,
right.
I deliver. I got 2 kids, just saying.
Right, just saying. Cuba.
Cuba. Look at Danny.
Yeah,
Danny's
right.
like, that's my man right there. But no, seriously, at the end of the day, we hired the Sherpa, and we went to town. And put it this way, Robin said earlier that the social media posts, right? So you do the social media posts. How about if we start creating audience sets that you can actually target online based on the list that you already have?
Wow.
How about if you start actually converting all of her digital info, all of the material she has into digital content, right? And start actually building audiences based on your niches, and it all can integrate into Infusionsoft, and you can just have a pane of glass, you can see everything. It is simple, however, it takes time, and then you need help. As long as you understand that and you reach out to Danny and and make it happen, the rest is history. Is it?
So what would you say to somebody who's thinking about it?
No, definitely do it. It's worth the money, and the power that it's going to bring to your team is amazing. You'll be able to do so much with so fewer resources, that stuff we could have never thought of doing on our own before.
Fantastic. And so, Danny, how would folks learn more about this?
You can swing by the MAP booth. So if you go to the Team Robin booths in the vendor area, you'll find a marketing automation platform booth, and you can check in right there. We've got a demo you can watch. You can meet with us one-on-one. We can talk about the specifics for your business. Also, tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, I'll be doing a session that's a little bit more of a deep dive, where I'll show some of the campaigns in detail so you get an idea of how the system functions and how it works. For those out there that are already in our Infusionsoft program, I want you to come to the booth too and swing by and stop by and see Allison and team there. We've got $500 of map bucks for you, so you can spend some money on some of the plugins and the other options on Infusionsoft that way too.
Fantastic. Tom, Pedro, Danny, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody. And by the way, I also have, can I give out the URL? Is that okay, you guys? Okay, so I also have the URL here because I know that there's folks who are like, okay, I heard it. I got to get it. I want to get going on this right away. It's mspmarketingcrm.com. mspmarketingcrm.com. Okay, we're ready to rock and roll again, so let's bring back Robin. Come on, Robin. And you're going to talk about the 6, I love this title, especially the 6 abilities successful CEOs need to grow consistently, profitably, and with sanity.
Yes, sanity, absolutely.
So, knock
all
'em
right,
dead.
dude. All right, here we go. All right, back at you guys. All right. This is something I have been thinking quite a bit about. When you start your business, you place a bet. You place a bet on you and your ability to provide for your family, to have a life better than most people. You bet on your ability to create something amazing, to do fulfilling work, to help other people, to build something that you're proud about. So you are making a huge bet on yourself and your abilities when you become a CEO, when you become an entrepreneur. But here's what you got to know. Being an entrepreneur is a life sentence, right? Did you guys all know that? Because once you become an entrepreneur, there is no going back. I mean, how many of you know right now that the thought of having to work for someone else or get a job, you just know it would make your head explode. I mean, how many of you know that they wouldn't have you even if you tried, because you are so dysfunctional right now? If you're an entrepreneur and you've been an entrepreneur for a while, you know, all you have left is being an entrepreneur. So you got to make the best of what you could do. But being an entrepreneur, growing a business, is about your ability to get things done. And so I really have been putting a lot of thought into this. This is a topic I'm going to continue to talk about with Producers Club and Accelerators Club members. It's things that we're already doing, but I've really kind of organized this because as the CEO leader myself, I have to think about what skills, what abilities do I need to work on? And that's what's so cool. When I talk about abilities, what I'm really talking about is skill. I'm not talking about natural talent. I'm not even talking about natural intelligence. A skill is something you can learn. That's what's so cool about it. It's not like if you aren't talented in selling, you can't be good at selling. That's not the case at all. It's a skill, and you can learn a skill. You can practice a skill. Now, yeah, maybe some people it comes easier to them. Certain things come easier to them than others. That's true. That's true for you. It's true for me. Certain things come very easy to me. Others I really got to work at. But at the end of the day, there are 6 abilities that you need to develop, 6 skills, if you want to think about it that way, to grow your business profitably, consistently, and with sanity. And as I go through these 6, I want you to think about and make notes about which ones you feel like you need to work on the most, because I can guarantee you, if you're having any kind of stress or anxiety in your business, probably is, if you look at these 6 abilities, you're going to be able to pinpoint and say, that's the ability that I have not mastered, that I'm been ignoring. It's probably, that's it. You're just ignoring it. You've been trying to delegate it. You've been trying to abdicate it. You've been trying to be busy with the other abilities that you're good at, and you've neglected it. And that's why that thing's going to come back and bite you again and again. So whether you like it or not, these 6 abilities, you have to get them all functioning, and you have to constantly grow yourself as a leader, as a CEO, as an entrepreneur, if you want your business to scale. So let me dive in, and as I go through these, I would love to hear from Jeff in the back, and let's talk about, I'd love to hear your input on those things. He's back there with his wipes. Jeff the germaphobe, right? Not today, Corona, not today. So anyway, all right, you good, Jeff? Yeah, okay, very good. He's very sanitized. And look, he just throws the trash on the ground. Like, what is that, okay? Your used hankies are all back there? It's disgusting. All right, so moving right along. The first ability is the ability to provide quality services. And most get this right, or they get it good enough, right? And the problem is most only work on this ability. So this is where every entrepreneur starts, right? You're really good at fixing computers or in technology, or you're really good at selling and writing sales letters and marketing copy. That's where you start. So you start a business, and the first ability is to consistently provide quality services. But the problem is, if you just stop there, there are 5 other abilities that are going to shut you down. And if you are only good at this, you don't grow, because the next ability that you have to be able to develop is bring in new clients consistently. And that means consistency in marketing. That means maximizing every lead. All the things we just talked about, the 4 marketing oil wells, that's all about consistently acquiring new clients, marketing oil wells, not random acts, and having a well-run sales and marketing department. That's an ability you have to be able to master: consistent new client acquisition. The third ability that you have to master is the ability to manage for maximum profit. And this includes making sure that you're packaging your services properly and pricing them appropriately. This means managing your operations so that your techs are properly utilized, that your team is efficient and effective. It means firing or fixing or firing unprofitable services, clients, and employees, not just letting these things hang around. Proper accounting and management of money, all of that is part of managing for profit, because you can get really good at delivering services, you can get really good at selling, but if you don't manage your business properly and the money in it, you're going to fail, because you're going to have all these sales but no profitability. So it looks like you're doing a lot of activity, but you're not making any money, right? Again, top line is for vanity, bottom line for sanity, right? The fourth ability is the ability to maximize revenue from existing clients. This includes, like I was talking about in my opening session, I talked about it in the 4 oil wells, I touched on it, having a good, better, best option. So you have a premium package, having a first-class option, high-end premium services, being able to cross-sell additional services, retention and development of next, whatever's next, what's coming new, referrals, endorsements, and introductions. And this is all about maximizing client revenue. Tomorrow, I'm actually going to be interviewing Marcus Lemonis, and he is the star of the hit TV show The Prophet, and that's probably how you know him. You might not realize he's actually the CEO of Camping World, which is, I think, a $4 or $5 billion company. He also is owner of Good Sam, and there's another, I think it's Gander. It's Gander Outdoors. Now, the point I'm making is when he started his business, he started as a small business owner just like you and I. And he started out with RVs, selling just RVs. And then that expanded into Camping World. And it's a whole community. And Good Sam, they sell warranty services. They sell services and support. It's like a membership dues. They have a magazine that they sell advertising in. They have credit cards. There's all of these services that once he started getting the customer, and the customer was the person who was interested in being outdoors and buying an RV and camping, he built that business by adding more and additional companies and services all surrounding that customer. That's how big businesses are built. It's built around not just getting more customers, but maximizing the revenue and the opportunity with every single one. That's what this is, number 4. Number 5, the ability to hire and manage. Honestly, this is my weakness, right? This is the one that trips me up. But if you do not hire great people, you are not going to grow your business. And Jack Welch said this. I learned this from him a long time ago, and he said, it's the team with the best players always win. So if you're really smart, you're really talented, you're really good, that's great, but you're never going to scale. You're not going to scale beyond a tech with helpers. To really be a true entrepreneur and a good CEO and make money where you don't have to do it all, you've got to learn how to hire and manage a team. That means hiring right, firing fast, developing leaders, not just worker bees, but people who can actually grow your business, managing for profitability. Greg Crabtree is going to be talking about that later in the session. You're going to love that, talking about labor efficiency ratio and how do you grow for profitability, and hiring gas pedal, sales and marketing people, not just more techs. When you look at most small MSPs and they're struggling to grow, it's because their team is made up of them, 8 other techs, and their wife, who's doing everything that the techs and you aren't doing. And you're laughing. I know you're out there because I just described your situation. This is why you're not growing. You've got to learn how to hire and manage people. And you also have to learn how to get customers consistently, all that, because if you don't do that, then you don't have the money to hire good people. So that you can see all these 6 work together. And the 6th ability is the ability to reinvent and innovate in your business. Because if your business is the same today as it was 5 years ago, I can tell you you're struggling, especially in tech, because so much is changing. We talked about it in opening night with compliance and cybersecurity and co-managed IT. So you as a CEO need to kind of see around corners. You need to know where the money's going. That's everything we talked about in opening night. That was the key to finding out where is the money right now? Where are people spending money on? Where's our competition coming from? Watching for threats and mitigating that risk, because competitors are going to be surrounding you. They're going to be trying to take your clients. If you don't think there's not somebody every day waking up to knock you off and take your customers, you're a fool. I mean, Mark Cuban said that was the thing that motivated him the most. He said, I woke up every day thinking that somebody is out to take me out and take every one of my customers and burn me to the ground and salt the earth. And he said, because of that, and that fear, that not wanting to die, he's like, man, that drove me to be innovative, to outperform your competition in marketing, in reputation, financially. Because when you start getting this all right, you start becoming a force to be dealt with, and you won't be easily knocked off the more you grow good leaders, the more you're able to acquire new customers, maximize the profitability of your customers, maximize the financial aspects of your business, and be smart. So if you look at all of those, I'd be curious if Jeff is back there. Jeff, any hell yeahs that I'm hearing from my virtual folks? Maybe not.
I'm seeing right now of where hiring is one of those ones that's a big one. And Robin, you and I have talked about it quite a bit over the last few weeks or the last month, that last one, number 6 there, of being able to to reinvent, innovate of what you're doing, do things differently, being able to turn on a dime when something happens like what's happened right now
Exactly.
is really one of the biggest key ones that everyone is looking at of trying to figure out how do I do that now, because it's not the same as it was a month ago, 6 weeks ago, and things aren't going to just keep on going, or they're not going to go back to where it was 2 months ago
It's
here
different.
anytime soon. It's different.
I think this really has been a game changer. You're right. And I have had members tell us that, after they join Producers Club or Accelerators, and that's why it's important to get to these kinds of events. And I know this one's virtual, but we will get back to having in-person events. And it's important you do that, because being at those events and talking to the vendors and finding out what's new, just keeping an eye on that, you're going to start seeing trends. You're going to start seeing ways that you can innovate your service offering, that you can add on to it. You can find out what other people are doing. I had somebody message me the other day who's been a long-term client of ours, and he said, Robin, I'm really extremely frustrated, because he said, I say a long-term member, he's been a client for at least over a year, but he's saying, I'm having to change everything I'm doing, my packaging, my pricing. It's just not working. And the coronavirus crisis that happened just made it all come to a head. And he said, I finally had to address that our packaging wasn't right, our approach wasn't right. And he's saying, I'm going back to the drawing board and I'm reinventing everything. And he said, I'm pissed off, but I'm letting that fuel me to drive me forward. And that's really important. That's why getting into these kind of meetings and talking to the vendors and talking to each other is important, because it helps with all these things. And so what I want to talk about next is an invitation for all of you who are thinking, man, there's one or two or six abilities that I need to work on. And candidly, you need to work on them all. And that's one of the things that we work on in Accelerators Club. So if you are out there, if you're in Accelerators Club, you already know this. We are working on all of these things, from new client acquisition to maximizing the profitability of your clients, bringing people to you like Greg Crabtree to help you with the financial aspect of your company, hiring people. We focus on the sales and marketing side. How do you hire those people? How do you find those people? All of that is what we talk about, and we're baking into Accelerators Club. Now, the reason I created Accelerators Club is for this slide. And I found this slide, I think it was 10 years ago, and I use it every year or every time I talk about accelerators. The reason I created Accelerators Club is because we needed an implementation program. So if you can see this slide, there's a guy standing on a pile of ladders, and he still can't get over the wall. And it says, if you don't know how to use the resources you have, it'll never be enough. And that's like getting all the campaigns in the toolkit, and you're all just standing on this pile of ladders and you still can't get over. So Accelerators Club, I want to be very clear. We are not holding back campaigns from you in the toolkit. So if you got the toolkit, you've got the best campaigns we've got. I'm sharing with you right now what we teach our accelerators, what we teach our Producers Club members. But what we're doing is we're helping you to implement. It's an implementation program. Not more stuff, not the secret sauce stuff, but it is an implementation program. You heard it from the 5 Better Your Best finalists. It wasn't some magic pixie dust, like, oh, well, we finally found this one campaign. Here's the one secret. You heard it from all 5. If you go back and watch the Better Your Best competition every year for the past 13 years, it's the same thing. I took Robin's stuff and I implemented it. That's it. That's where the money is made. And a lot of them, without me prompting them, talked about accelerators. They talked about rapid implementation, which is the start to joining accelerators. And that's what I want to invite you, if you're out there and you're worried and you're concerned that your business isn't doing as well as it should, then I want you to join us. So let me give you some quick stats. Now, we take these stats for our members every 90 days, and then we look at it every year. And these stats actually have not changed, because right before we were doing boot camp, I asked Jeff and Mark to go back and pull these stats. And I asked them to tell me the financial average from the reported results of our members that are in accelerators 90 days after attending Rapid. So these are brand new customers. They're just coming into accelerators 90 days in. What's the financial impact? And the average accelerators member sees $8,000 per month in new MRR, an average of $123,000 in project work, for a total of about $219,000. Now, I'm sure that number is going to change a little bit with coronavirus, but this has been the historical average. And I want to make sure you know, this, I'm not guaranteeing, I'm not saying, I'm not some snake oil salesman. I would never ever sit here and say, just join Accelerators and the money's going to fall from the sky. You're going to work your ass off for it. And we're going to be there making you do your push-ups. We're going to be riding with you. We're going to be holding you accountable. We're going to come in the morning, wake you up, make you do your work, encourage you, get you past the sticking points. Like I said, this is an implementation program. But if you implement, you can start seeing results like what Rod Hullum here has seen. He said, I did nothing with the toolkit until I joined Accelerators, and now I'm on track to double my revenue in just 1 year. He said, Accelerators Club spurred us into action. During the first 90 days, we generated over 30 leads and 15 booked appointments. Or Nathan Whitaker, I know Nathan's out there. I saw him on the virtual feed earlier. Signed 57 agreements after joining Accelerators Club. Over the last 10 months, we built a great marketing team, and we're getting so much done. Or Tom Brewer. Tom's been a great asset to the Accelerators, to our Producers Club now. At first, I was a huge skeptic, but in 5 months, we already doubled sales and leads and more than tripled our first-time appointments. On top of that, our MRR is up 27%. And guys, these are not brand new spanking businesses that just started. These are people who've been in business for 5, 10, 15 years, and they're starting to see these results for the first time in their business. Or the Groots. This is Stephanie Groot, but we like to call them the Groots. It's a little family working a great managed services business. After working with Robin for 3 months, they added $40,000 in new MRR, $93,000 in project work after 90 days. So if you're sitting there going, well, man, should I join? Here's what you got to ask yourself. First of all, do you want to condense the implementation of the toolkit from 1 to 2 years, maybe never, down to 3 or 4 months? Or maybe you're rightfully concerned about the recession that's happening. Maybe you haven't seen a big loss yet, but you're thinking, you know what? Money's going to be parked for a while, and it's going to get harder to get clients. Maybe that's your concern, and you don't have a marketing plan. Maybe you're not at peace with the amount of income that you're making or how hard you're working to make the money. Even leading up to this, it was hard. And leading up to this, you weren't making enough money. And now it's going to get harder, folks. I'm not saying that to be a naysayer, a doomsday. I showed you earlier my slide and how it's impacted our sales. We're seeing it. Now, we're climbing out of it because we know how to do it. But if you don't know how to do marketing and selling, this is going to be a really, really rough road for you. Do you know you need someone to hold you accountable? We all need accountability on certain things. Like, I need somebody to come to my house and slap this skinny pop bag of popcorn out of my hand, because if it is in the house, I am eating it, all right? I have absolutely no willpower whatsoever on that. So I just can't buy it. I need somebody to be my accountability coach, right? Whatever it is, we all need something there. And maybe you're just a greedy bastard. You just want to get rich. And I hope that's you. I hope every single person out here, and I mean this sincerely, whether you join Accelerators or not, IT people are heroes. You guys, you saved the world. You saved the world. And I'm not saying that. You're not getting paid to say that. I mean that sincerely. Every business came screaming to you the minute they were given the work from home orders, and you guys pulled it off. You did an amazing job. You pivoted like nobody has ever pivoted. I know many of you were working long hours. Maybe finally you're going to get the recognition you deserve. And I think you deserve to get as rich as you can. Not being greedy. I mean, I'm using greedy to be silly, but I mean, because you're providing value, and it's about time that businesses in America and across the world woke up and saw how valuable you are. And that's what our mission is to help you build that business that makes you rich, that makes you wealthy, so you can give back, so that you can do charitable work, so you can take care of your family, and not just your immediate family, but other people. Because when you have a business that works, you can do more. You cannot fix the world with broken hands. You know, there's a saying that people say, you know, you gotta give to get. And Mike Michalowicz, who's also going to be a speaker in one of the sessions, you know, he changed my thinking on that. He said, no, it's wrong. You got to get to give, because you can't give what you ain't got. And if you have no money, if you're breathing through a straw, you can't support people like St. Jude. You know, the reason I can donate $30,000 to St. Jude even after this crisis is because I've got a good business. And I'm not taking that and just buying multiple cars and a yacht. I'm giving money to St. Jude. I can make a difference in people's lives. And I know that's who you are too. I know that's the spirit you have, but you can't do it. You can't give your employees bonuses. You can't give them more opportunities. You can't take care of their families or your other family members. members if you're broke and you're struggling and you're just trying to survive yourself. And I want to give you that. So when you join Accelerators Club, that's what we're about. Now, let me give you a very brief, high-level overview of what you get when you enroll. Some of you are already Apprentice Club members. So you get things like the marketing strategy brief, the deep dive, you've got the Q&A calls, the tech tip postcards, all of that. That's all included. It's not a separate fee. It's all included. Now, as soon as you join, we get going. It's not like you wait to get something right away. We are going to create an SEO plan for your new website, because we're even going to give you a website. If you like your current website, a lot of our members take the new website and they use it to focus on a vertical or a niche that they want. So for example, if you want to focus on medical, because 30% of your clients are medical, you can take this new website that we're going to give you that's included, and we're going to put an SEO plan on it. We're going to stand it up, and now you've got a new website that you can just focus on that vertical. Or some members come to us and like, yeah, burn the old site to the ground. It's horrible, right? And so we just want to go with a fresh new start. Either way, you get the SEO plan, you get the website. We start your custom email and print newsletter right away. We start cleaning your list, because your list is a mess and you know it, right? It's like we got to, there's missing information, outdated information. We're going to take your list and we're going to clean it up for you. And then we're going to help you get amazing client testimonials and reviews, because you're going to need that as you go out and do prospecting. Now, this all happens immediately. Then we're scheduling you into a 2-day workshop. And it's in a small group. It's with me, Jeff, Mark, my team. I'm there all day. You can ask me questions. You can wear me out. And we have 2 workshops in June. Both are going to be in person. One has a virtual option. So if you're still not comfortable traveling, if you've got reasons that you cannot, you still have to social distance and all that, that's fine. You can join virtually. It'll be almost like this, but actually it'll be better than even what we're doing here, because it'll be a smaller group. I mean, we're broadcasting out to a larger group right now, but you'll have that smaller interaction. You'll be able to participate, ask questions, see everything. So we do have that virtual option. And then right after that workshop, we kick off a checklist process of 30 days and 90 days of how to implement a marketing plan for your business. And we have weekly coaching to hold you accountable. So we break it down in these little bite-sized, very doable chunks. And I can tell you 80 to 90% of everybody who goes through this, they complete everything on their checklist. They get everything done. That's why you see them getting the results. Because we just kind of put the blinders on. We focus you. Every week you're getting things done. And the few that don't get it all done, typically they're very close or nearly done. They just haven't completed it 100%. So we give you that weekly coaching with a senior coach and my team, and we walk you through this. And then after you're done going through this 90 days, then we put you with a client coach who is where you want to be in your business in the next few years. And we put you into an accountability group of non-competitive peers with a really good client coach. And this is helping you to continue and be consistent and implement more marketing. And if you look at what some of our clients have had to say, like Derek Anderson generated $131,000 in new revenue in 90 days. But he says, being held accountable on a weekly basis has been instrumental to our accomplishment. So we finally just lead you, we walk with you, we give you a client coach, we give you the support of your peers. And believe me, we talk about marketing, that's the focus, but you're going to learn from everybody who's in the group how to price and package service contracts and how to manage your techs and how to manage for profitability. All those 6 abilities, all of those topics get discussed. And if you get into trouble, you've got a family, you've got a community now, and you can reach out to us, and we're going to help you with anything. And believe me, guys, I have seen some horrific things happen to people, and this community will step up and step around you and support you. It's just good to know that you're not alone, and you can get some help if you need it. In addition to the accountability group, like I said, we give you a website. It includes my content that we write, we design, monthly email tips. We have over 50 landing pages, everything from free report downloads to webinars and seminars, tech tip postcards, all of that. We give that. It's all baked in. Google Analytics are set up, and you have unlimited changes. You can change it as much as you want. It's all included, and you get help from us. So if you ever get stuck, if you feel like your website's not converting, you can get on with my team, and they will look at your analytics with you, and they will make a plan for how do we get your website to convert more, or how do we get more visitors. And that also goes into the custom SEO plan for setting up your website in the first place. And this is not cookie cutter. We work with Joel Berta. He's the guy that does our SEO plans. He evaluates your current site, and he makes sure that we don't undo something, because you might actually be optimized very well in certain areas, and we don't want to mess that up. So we create a customized SEO plan for your website, and we implement that. And like Aaron Zimmerman, who's in Eastern Idaho, thought, you know, good luck trying to optimize my website. There's like hardly anybody out here. I'm not going to get any leads. But he said he got $6,000 in new MRR right off the website, representing $216,000 in new revenue just from the changes we did on the website. We also give you a custom concierge done for you newsletter. It's not a download and you got to customize it. My team will design it. We'll replace articles. We're always looking for articles like what you want us to write. We write those for you. If you want them printed, we can print them and mail them for you, or we can print them and ship them to you so you mail them locally, or we can send you a high resolution PDF that you can have printed yourself. It's entirely up to you. We try to make it as convenient and easy as possible, but that is included. We also give you our online shock and awe. Now, the online shock and awe, if you've seen it, you probably saw us use it on you when you bought. It is very, very cool. And we have had members report 10% to 40% increases in close rate in their sales process by doing absolutely nothing else but adding on this online shock and awe tool builder. In addition to that, we give you 2 one-on-one private consults per quarter with our coach. Now, you don't get assigned somebody. It depends on what you want to talk about. So like if you have questions about Facebook ads or some of the things like we're doing with targeting our prospects and our clients on Facebook or LinkedIn, and doing some cool things with retargeting where you can literally, someone hits your website and you can connect with them on LinkedIn, send them a message, a sponsored message directly on LinkedIn after they've hit your website. I mean, there's some cool things. I'm not going to be the best person to answer that question. Mike's going to be the guy, so we're going to set you up with him. If you are trying to figure out cybersecurity, we're going to put you with Al Alper. If you're trying to figure out, maybe you're trying to break into the medical niche, I'll put you with Peter Veleza or Will Nobles. You can see, I mean, we've got a number of client coaches, and depending on what your question is, we will match you up with the right coach based on that question. In addition, we're going to give you some bonuses, because what would boot camp be without bonuses, right? I mean, but wait, there's more, right? We need that. Like, I need like some kind of Austin, work on that. Some sort of, but wait, there's more. Okay, he's over there, just thumbs up. Anyway, boot camp bonus number 1, Salesapalooza. I talked about it. This is included in your Accelerators Club membership. It is a complete sales playbook for closing managed services deals. The other bonus I'm going to give you is a free guest pass to audit a future Rapid implementation. So you're going to come to Rapid either virtually or in person, and we've had members come back and audit the class, either in person because they want to be refreshed, or they hire a marketing person and they want them to go through it. So you get a free pass to audit it again in the future. The third bonus is we give you 2 seats to an upcoming Producers Club meeting, and Accelerators members love this. Depending on who the in-person speaker is going to be, they might arrange it. So they might want to see George Foreman. We're going to have Jocko Willink and a couple other speakers. You might want to come and join us, and depending on, we'll give you dates and availability, but you get 2 tickets to attend that. And I give you our cybersecurity marketing toolkit, which is a $2,000 program. Now, in addition to all of this, with Accelerators, we found, like I said, if you don't have a marketing automation platform, you can't implement as well as you could. So we have also baked in here our marketing automation platform, our Infusionsoft. So you get your monthly map licensing for up to 3 users and 2,500 contacts. We do list cleaning for an additional 250 records because we don't want to put garbage in the system. We want to put clean data in. So that ends up being 350 client and prospect records that we're going to clean before we import them in. And we do it all for you. We're going to set up your users. We're going to tag your list. We're going to import your list. We're going to set up all your campaigns. We're going to show you how everything works. And then one day of the Rapid implementation workshop is basically handing over the keys to the customized new car, showing you how to push the button to start things, and giving you that coach. But that is all included because we set you up with a Sherpa. It's not watch this video and go do it. We literally set you up and do it for you. And again, we give you that bonus day training. It's part of rapid implementation. And all of this is coordinated perfectly with the 90 days, the 30-day onboarding checklist. That in of itself is an $8,000 value, and we include it all in your Accelerators membership. We even waive the setup fees because I want you to be with us long term. So we're giving up profit on the front end, knowing that you're going to be a client long term. Just like when you sell managed services, you know, a lot of times you're not profitable with that client for the first 3 to 6 months, and that's because you're doing a lot of work, and that's exactly what we're doing here. So we're waiving all that as a good-natured, good neighbor, sort of keep you in the community and help get you set up. So just to summarize, you get the workshop, you get the 2-day rapid implementation workshop and the pre-workshop prep. We give you the 12 weeks of implementation coaching. We give you the senior weekly accountability group and coach, marketing automation platform, all the campaigns that are baked in there, the Sherpa setting you up, list cleaning, apprentice club memberships. We give you the Done For You website, the SEO plan, the tech tip postcard, the Done For You newsletter. I'm going to pass out here. This is so much. The VIP tickets to the boot camp next year, of course. We'll have to do that. Online shock and all. You can advertise even in Robin Recommends. We have a promotion that goes out in our newsletter, and if you happen to sell to other MSPs, you get an ad in there for free. We also include select Producers Club content, so every once in a while, if I come up with a new campaign, I'll make it available to also Accelerators members. That's usually for Producers Club. 2 coaching calls per quarter. I mean, the total value, it's silly to even say $52,000, because if you went to any marketing or advertising agency and asked them to create this for you, I promise you it would be 10 times this. And I'm not even joking. Go shop me. Take this list and say, give me all of this coaching, writing and doing my website, my SEO plan, a monthly newsletter. Give me all of the campaigns, do my Infusionsoft. Go ahead, go shop me and see if you can get that for that price. Now, again, we don't have to charge you that. Accelerators plus the marketing automation platform bundle is $1,995. So it's $1,995 per month. Very, very simple. If you just can't swing that because money's a little bit tight, then you can strip out the marketing automation platform. I would not recommend it. And most people don't. By the way, just so you know, 90% of people buy it with marketing automation. The only 10%, some people do have some sort of CRM or marketing automation platform they're already using, and that's fine. If you have that, that's fine. You just can join Accelerators, and it's $11.97 per month. It won't hurt you. Just most people, when they come to us, they don't have any kind of CRM or marketing automation platform, so the majority of them take that option. You can use your Robin Bucks. If you got $1,000, you can take $1,000 off your first month. If you would be $995 or $197 for the first month. I mean, it's ridiculous. So, how to apply? Go to robinsacceleratorsclub.com/apply. Jeff is going to post that into the chat. robinsacceleratorsclub.com, apply. When you get there, after you've applied, we will send you what looks like an online shock and all. Look at that, right? See, we actually do what we tell you to do. What we teach, we actually do. But inside this actually is going to be a full information kit program. Profiles of the client coaches, so if you're curious about that, 22-member transformation stories, details about the marketing campaigns and the marketing automation platform, answers to frequently asked questions, and more. And the other thing I found, I asked Jeff this literally, and this is a true story, right before we got to boot camp. I said, we got to, what is something we could do just to kind of incentivize people? Because I like to, put an offer out there, get you jumping. And he said we had 34 of the Fight Club boot camp corksicles. Now, these things are great. Summer's coming, man. You can put a nice cold drink in there, like your favorite beverage. I love the salty dog. Ooh, that's so good. It's vodka. It's grapefruit. So good. Anyway, you put that in there. Keeps it cold. You're in the pool. You're on the beach. You're going to love it. But we only got 34 of those. So the first 34 that apply get this for free. And you don't even have to buy. We're just going to give it to you just for applying. So what you do now is you submit your application online, and you have 2 options at the end of the form. You can select Fast Track My Application because you know you want in, you've been thinking about this, you know you need it, and you're going to apply. And then once you're approved, you're right in, you're good to go. The other option is you could say, I still have questions. And if you choose that option, it's going to take you to a form where you can schedule a one-on-one call. It'll either be with Mark Sheehan or it'll be with Jeff, not a sales guy. It's going to be Mark, who runs our Accelerators club, or Jeff, who runs Producers Accelerators, and they're going to just talk to you and answer your questions and see if this is a right move for you. Is this a right fit? Is it going to give you what you want? Are you going to be happy? And so we're not going to twist your arm. It's just to answer your questions and make you feel comfortable. And it does not obligate you to buy, but it also doesn't guarantee that you're going to be accepted. So the application, you go online right now and apply, have the conversation with Mark. If you're worried, here is my no-risk guarantee. Sign up for Accelerators Club and go through rapid implementation. If you feel like you will not get 10 times, 20 times, whatever ROI you need to get, you get to be judge, jury, and executioner all in one. And if you don't think you're going to get a lot out of this, you can cancel, and we will have no further contracts or obligations whatsoever. And you can, of course, sign up after boot camp, but the bonuses come off the table because I want to get you moving. I want to get you doing this right now. So complete the application. If Accelerators is not right for you, if you don't think it's right, Mark can still recommend resources. It is a consulting call. I promise you. Don't be worried about scheduling this. He's going to twist your arm and talk you into something. If you're just not certain, sign up, talk to Mark, because maybe there's another program or something else we can do for you that would be a better fit. That's why we have the application process, because I want to make sure that you're going to get the best results. Part of the reason we get results consistently is because we're selective of who we let in. Everybody has to go through an application process. We talk to you, we look at it, we know who's going to win, we know who's not, and if we feel there's some concerns, we're going to share that with you, and you go in eyes wide open. So, all right, I think we've got a panel that we are going to switch to. Yes?
Yes.
Look at that. Happy, smiley people. Hey, guys.
Hey,
Hi. How we doing? You all right?
great.
Okay.
Doing well.
We are good.
Fabulous.
So these guys are our client coaches, guys and gals. So really quick, and I guess we can start. Do they see themselves the same way I see themselves? Because I was going to say we'll start with Peter and go clockwise. I just want to have you quickly say who you are. Just give a quick thumbnail of who you are in your business. Peter, you're going to have to identify yourself because you're not wearing your, you're not Sergey, you're not Paulie. Yeah. You're Peter right now, right? Okay.
Exactly.
So let's start with you quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Peter Verleza, SMB Networks. We are in Hamden, Connecticut. Been a producer club member, I just realized, for almost 12 years.
Wow.
And yeah, it's a long time. Like I think I had more hair back then. All our business is managed services, and our primary market is medical.
Okay.
And been a client coach for a couple of years. You heard the story today. 2017 kind of turned things around. Mm-hmm. That's my quick story.
Okay, great. And by the way, I think I may have missed saying this. I'm going to have them introduce themselves. We're going to talk about marketing implementation. We're going to talk about things that we've done and what they see and what clients get as a result of doing implementations. I don't think I said that, but let me do this quick intro, and then we're going to get to some questions. So if you're out there and you're thinking of questions, write them in the chat, because Jeff is going to be feeding some of those to me. Okay, Princess Leia, you next.
Yes, I'm Leah Shulabad. I'm the CEO here at Intech Solutions just outside of Pittsburgh, PA. They also call me the IT Princess of Power. I've been a member of the Producers Club since the fall of 2012 and coaching for Accelerators for a couple of years. Absolutely love to do it. I specialize in helping companies understand how to position themselves, celebrity attachment, webinars, and my business focuses on helping manufacturers. Perfect.
All right. Charles Henson.
Hey, Robin.
Hey.
So I'm Charles Henson, based out of Nashville, Tennessee. We've grown our MSP, focused more now on security than anything. Been in Producers Club since I believe it was 2011 boot camp. So really taking advantage of Infusionsoft and the Sherpa and the whole MAP team and implementing stuff. And it's really helped grow our business. Grown over $500,000, 6 out of the past 5 years. And the stuff really works. It's just really great. And just a living testimony of what you can do if you continue to do the marketing from Robin. So it's been great for us.
Perfect. All right, Lisa.
Hey, Robin, and hey, everybody out there. My name is Lisa Shore, and I am co-owner of Secure Future Tech Solutions and founder of an image consulting business called Shore Success. Eric and I, my husband Eric and I, have been members of Technology Marketing Toolkit since 2016. I am one of the original client coaches, so shout out to my $1 million marketers and Accelerate. That's Accelerators 3 and Accelerators 8 groups. And we have really taken this program by storm. My degree is in marketing. I love this program. We have grown our business since 2016, over $1 million in top line revenue, and we've really been implementing strong.
Right, very cool. And Stuart.
Hey.
Hey.
Hello, everybody. I'm in Eastern Connecticut in the bustling metropolis of Taftville. Check it out sometime. And population right now, about 2. But anyway, so I've been a producer.
You have managed service contracts with both of them, though, right? That's what's important. Okay.
That's the important thing.
Right.
Yes, of course.
I bought their car.
Yeah.
They had to sign. So anyway, we've been a Producers Club member since 2014. I am the CEO of this company. I am technology, and I also have a consulting practice called AutoCorrect Consulting. So, and have learned a tremendous amount ever since being involved in the Technology Marketing Toolkit and Producers Club. And I coach 2 accelerated groups, and they're fantastic. And all I have to say is I wish that there was an accelerators group program when I started, because back then it was not quite as.
I know, it sucked.
It was.
Go ahead, say it.
No, wait a minute.
It was a
Easy,
mess.
guys.
Yeah,
It was the apprentice
he's-
level.
Look,
it was still good. It just did not have.
it was
same
not as
structure.
organized. 100%. I
Correct.
wish I had done this years ago. Actually, Lisa was part of one of our first sort of, if you remember, we did that project with Microsoft, and that was our
the
first
Microsoft SMB.
Yeah, taking a group and coaching them. And then after I did that, like the light bulb went on. I'm like, we got to do this for all of our clients. So the question I want to start out with is, you guys have seen dozens upon dozens of people go through rapid implementation, and you've seen people have huge successes and grow their business. And then, candidly, there are some that don't, they kind of fail out. And fortunately, it's not most. But what would you say for those who are listening? What is the difference between those who succeed? And I don't want it to be, well, they're just in accelerators, because they're all in accelerators, right? Because that's not, but what is it? Is it a mindset? Is it an approach? Like, what is it that the successful people have that the unsuccessful don't? I'll let you take it, whoever wants to take that.
Go ahead.
I can start that. I think that, after doing this for so many years, and then also being in IT myself for over 20 years, it's really all about attitude. And I don't mean that in any facetious way. When you have the mindset to do this, to put your money where your mouth is, and take consistent, and the key word is consistent action, that's when people succeed. It's the people who have this mindset of, I'm going to start it, and then I'm going to run one campaign. It's going to be great. And then it doesn't, and it fails. And then they give up. That's really a difficult position to be in, because you're always going to set yourself up for failure, because marketing is a long run game, not just a short run.
For sure.
Yeah. And you're going to get what you expect, right? So if you go into this expecting it to be hard, expecting it to be expensive, expecting it to be a slog, if all the people in your neighborhood have no money, if everybody around you has got a small mind and doesn't have the opportunity to see the big picture, you'll get what you expect. So if you instead think that that's what you're going to get, you're going to set yourself up for failure. So a lot of this just has to do with deciding that I'm going to trust the process, trust the system, and I'm not going to try to riff on this song until I actually know how to sing it right or play it right. And so instead, you just implement the systems, you just do what needs to be done, and then you let the results speak for themselves, and you don't make excuses. That's really the mystery of it. It's the right mindset, and it's just being willing to go through the effort and follow the processes without changing a bunch of things, or trying so many things all at once that you end up just diluting the results and getting frustrated.
Right.
Yeah, I'll offer out my opinion. You heard some of it today. I'm going to go with 3 things: commitment, dedication, and focus. You need to know who your market is. You need to commit to that market. You need to dedicate your time and effort toward communicating to that market and have some focus. You have a plan, focus on it, commit to it, and dedicate yourself.
Very cool. All right.
Yeah, I'd like to say that. Go ahead, Leah.
What I noticed is that sometimes people show up and they just want like a singular sales letter. Like, what is the letter to send?
The one
to
thing.
the uncleaned masses.
Yeah.
Yes. This is the letter. I sent this letter to the unclean masses, and then people are just going to show up at my door with checks in hand. Because that does not happen. And if that's what your expectation is, you're going to be very disappointed. So people don't want to clean the list or have a relationship with their list. And the final thing is that they don't provide value. They just want, like this, again, they just want the sales letter. They don't actually want to provide value. And hey, guys, great customer service is not a differentiator. That is the ticket to get into the game. So you need to actually have a real unique selling proposition, which is part of what they teach in Rapid implementation, is how to actually get a actual USP, because good customer service you shouldn't even be in business if you can't give that.
Yeah, that's the first ability that we talked about, just being able to provide quality services. Right, exactly. All right, Charles.
Yeah, it's really about the focus. It's mindset as well as focus. So you have to have the mindset of knowing that everything that you're doing is going to work. So the first campaign you send out to any prospect is the planting of the seed. Every campaign that you send out after that, you're watering that seed. You have to understand that not every seed is going to grow. But when that opportunity arises and when they have that need, then they're going to call you. But a lot of times when the people come into these calls, they're all over the place. They want to do 5 different things. And so what we try to do is focus on 1 to 2 things. And what can you do this week to move the needle, even if it's 5 or 10%? Mm-hmm. So if it's Infusionsoft, let's get that up and running. If it's doing a campaign, let's send out 20 letters, 25 letters. That way we know what that process looks like. We've been through it, and it's not as overwhelming as thinking, oh my God, I have to send this stuff out. Right. So we take it into baby steps, put it out there, focus on 1 to 2. Mm-hmm. Get an aspirin campaign done. The website is done, and then we start gradually adding more items on top of that. And that's when your branding starts getting noticed, people start seeing you, and they understand. And the key, I can tell you personally, is consistency. Consistency through the years of doing speaking presentations, going and meeting with people, doing webinars, doing seminars, getting asked to speak to different places. As you build your brand, the conversation changes from how much do you charge to how do we do business with you. It's a different business conversation once they understand that you are the educator and you get your marketing out in front of them. Exactly.
Now, in a minute, Jeff, I don't know if you have any questions lined up over there. I might have, I don't want to spring it on him. But Jeff, what is a question that you're seeing coming in from the feed? Because I have more questions here, but I want to make sure people get their questions answered.
Hey, I'm not seeing any, so I would just keep on with what you have right here. I don't think I see any that I'm going to ask with the coaches.
Okay. So let me ask you guys this, because again, you've gone through this process, right? You've gone through implementing campaigns. For you personally, what has been the biggest impact or the biggest aha for you? And think back to when you first joined and, you didn't know anything about what this toolkit thing is and what's this community. And now looking back, like, what has been the thing that's had the biggest impact on you personally?
I'll say that sending your campaigns out without changing them. When we originally started, when we got the toolkit, we changed a lot of the letter. I just want the darn thing to work was one of the letters that we'd send out. We changed a lot of that. And my marketing person said, hey, can we just, you guys not touch one of Robin's letters and let me send it as is? Just change the logo, put our testimonials in it from our clients and send it. I was like, yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's not going to work anyways. And we sent it out, and it was the bad date letter. And I remember her running through the office saying, I got one. And it was a lead that came in for a CPA firm that was breaking apart. So they bought $75,000 worth of new hardware and signed up for $1,500 a month recurring revenue. And at that point, it was the aha moment of, if Robin writes a letter, just freaking send it as is. Don't try to change it and make it into my own words, because I clearly don't know what the hell I'm doing when it comes to writing copy. So that was the aha moment. And then the consistency of sending those out every single quarter. We touch every single prospect or every client that we have in our database.
Very cool. All right. Lisa, go ahead.
Go next. So I remember, Robin, when Eric sat in the first rapid class doing the competition for selling Office 365, and I was watching on video from home with the kids, and you made them do the 9-word email right in class. And so Eric sent it, and I remember him shouting during class, "Oh my God, I closed a deal." So, and that was, and so I just sat there and I'm like, oh my God, this is the redhead that is going to not only save our business, but save our marriage. So it was, and when I got up on that Better Your Best stage, that was my opening premise was, I didn't just marry the business. I married Eric and the business. And I finally found this woman who understands me, understands I'm a marketer. And that 9-word email was our kickstart to understanding and really changing Eric's engineer mindset from being an engineer to understanding, oh, I need to think about this marketing process in a whole different light, and tracking and really being consistent and understanding people buy when they're ready, not necessarily when we're ready.
Exactly.
So that was one campaign that really kickstarted our mindset that we're in this for the long haul, and we're going to do and put the processes in place. And I want to share with everybody the second campaign that you talked about this today, Robin, but that QBR campaign and meeting with your clients. For those of you who are accelerators and producers club, or maybe producers club, but maybe it can become available, but we did a golden cone on QBRs. And our process is in there. Last year alone, we track QBRs now. And last year alone in our business, we did nearly $500,000 in sales. It includes MRR, includes project work, whatever, but just by tracking our QBRs. So it's massive for us. And I encourage you guys, if you're not already meeting with your clients, and as an accelerator coach, I hear it often, I'm busy, I've got a lot to do, I'm going to schedule a couple, and then they do, but then they don't, and then something gets in the way. Please make the time. Make the time.
Great advice.
So Robin, let me offer out this had a quasi-happy ending.
Okay.
Direct response. Direct response. I sent a worry doll campaign out. I thought I knew better. I changed it all up. I didn't print on both sides of the paper. I printed on one side. The postage cost me a lot more than it should have. It wouldn't fit in the same envelope that you had recommended. But here was the big win that really got me sold on following the program. I received, after sending out these worry doll letters, I received back in the mail about 2 weeks after the last letter went, a big manila envelope. There was a handwritten, the address was handwritten. It came back to me. There was only the physical address, not the company name. It was a medical practice, actually. And in that envelope were each of the 3 letters, was the worry doll that I sent out, were all the envelopes. And there was a note on the front of the first letter that said, "I love your marketing. Take me off your list."
Peter, you're not supposed to share that with people. Come on, I'm trying to encourage people.
Who saves this mail? I was sold on the fact that people read
slap
it.
him. Will you reach across? I know you're socially distancing. There you go, Stuart. Just slap him.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
People respond to this stuff. We don't know better. And we've had tremendous success by doing this on a consistent and regular basis.
But
That
but Peter,
sold me.
it's not just that. I mean, you've been doing things like the JVs, like with getting into the medical group management, really understanding your target market, marketing to them the way they want. So, I know we're talking about letters a lot, but I think I know just from you specifically that, you've changed your whole mindset, even how you can describe your ideal prospect and what she thinks and how she feels and how she wants to be communicated with, and having that avatar. So I just want to underscore, because there's a lot of people watching this who have no idea even what a worry doll is, and I just want to make sure that, I know you're being like silly, but I mean, you really have changed a lot. I've seen you over the years really grow as an entrepreneur and as a business owner and as a marketer.
Yeah, totally. That does underscore some of what I was saying today.
Yeah.
And that first part is being a little bit goofy, but that really sold me on the message. Now, the messaging that goes out to our target market is very specific. I know what they want. I know what keeps them up at night, and I know how to get their attention. And that's the whole unique selling proposition, and knowing who your target market is.
And how to communicate it. Yeah, exactly.
And how to communicate it. And it's important. And by the way, let's just a minute, if I may, on target marketing. Manufacturers with 20 to 50 computers is not a target market. It's the start of a target market. I had one of my guys talk to me about selling to construction companies, people who are in the construction business, and they will do business with organizations that have from 20 to 100 computers. And I asked the question, so an electrical contractor in the construction business, electrical contractor that has 20 employees, who is the person that you deal with? Well, usually it's the office manager. Who is that office manager? Well, typically it's the owner's wife. I said, all right, so what's important to that individual? What keeps that person up at night? Because it's not the same thing that keeps the chief financial officer or the chief operating officer of a $20 million business up at night. So really that focus and attention is extremely important.
Yeah, and let me do this because I want to make sure we get to some questions. I think Jeff is like holding up his hand, like he's like showing me. I think we've got some questions. So Jeff, what's a question that came in?
Yeah, I was over on Dave D's shoulders over here trying to get your attention. So Heather is asking here, is the Accelerators Club good for people already barely getting 4 to 6 hours of sleep a night because their business and clients are keeping them so busy? How much time should we expect to have to dedicate a day or a week of implementation, or should we try to take a 2-week, quote unquote, vacation from the business to get everything done and set up?
Well, I'll let the...
That's a great question.
Yeah, you want to take it?
I want to answer that.
All right, I'll let you take that one. All right.
Yes, I do. So yes, if you're serious about growing your business, then Accelerators is for you. That's it. Okay, if you are serious about growing your business and you want to do the work, then Accelerators is for you. Now you said, I'm not getting any sleep at night. We're talking about a different problem. I've had people tell me, I don't have any time to be able to do this marketing, to do that marketing. And let me tell you something. If you do not have the time and you don't have massive amounts of profit to be able to hire someone, you have a bigger problem in your business. And you need to get a coach to help you figure out where that is, right? Because if you're putting that many hours in and you can't hire help, you have a different problem.
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
Oh, no, you're exactly right. I mean, so that's, it sounds a little bit like, oh, woe is me. And I don't mean this to be very hurtful because I know this is going to sound horrible, but it's a little bit of a whiner's complainer right there. Like, I'm only getting 3 hours of sleep. Should I join? Will this work for me? You're right. Mm-hmm. Something's wrong, because if you are that busy, and you should be rolling in the dough. And if you're not rolling in the dough, you got the wrong clients, the wrong process. Charles Swihart, he may have touched on it a little bit in this presentation, or I might be thinking, because I just know his story. I mean, when he first came to us, he had all like home users, break fix clients. That was he fired over 1,000. He dumped over 1,000 customers and reduced back, and his profitability went up. His sales went up. He had to change his thinking and change his model. And joining Accelerators, that was the start of the process, Now, Don't join and then say, it just won't work for me. It's impossible. My clients are different. My business is different. I can't do that. You guys know that, right? You've heard, like you were saying, about that closed mindset. I think, Stuart, you were the one who was saying you're going to get what you expect. So yeah, you need to get around some successful people who know how to make money in their business so they can look at it and see what you're doing wrong, because absolutely there's no way you should be only sleeping 3 hours a night. There's a bigger problem going on there. Yeah.
Yeah, you could be
Robin.
busy with the wrong activities.
Yeah.
Well, what's going on there is he's busy chasing the nonprofit clients because they're the noisiest. Right. They're the ones that don't pay you. And I can tell you from experience, we went through the pumpkin plan and we used to have over 650 clients. Today we have 119. So we have more than tripled our business with way fewer clients, and our profitability skyrocketed. Right. So what does that mean? What does that look like? I mean, you literally, we used to chase people and we focused on everybody that was screaming. We go out there and we'd do half a day of work and then they'd complain and want a full refund. Well, I got tired of dealing with those kinds of people and got tired of losing sleep and losing time, focusing on the wrong people and losing good clients that were paying us good money and profitable because the loud ones were so cheap and noisy that they kept us busy. Right. So really, like Leah says, you have to get with a coach. You have to understand that we've been through that road. We've walked those steps that you're walking through right now, and we can help you and help guide you through and help you in making those decisions that you need to be making. We're not going to make decisions for you, but we'll give you guidance. We'll help you and encourage you along the way. And I'll also say that, Peter said it, you're focusing on the wrong thing. So I had a guy complaining 3 weeks ago in one of the groups that he can't get his Infusionsoft stuff done. And I sorry, but I kicked his ass and look, dude, you got to get this done. And you're not going home tonight until that's finished. And then, he emailed me at 8 o'clock and said, all right, dude, I've got part of it done. The next day I saw him on Facebook. I was like, why are you on Facebook? Right. Go work on that and tell me when you're done. And he was like, yeah, you're right. I need to do this. A week later, he had it finished. But it's that kind of encouragement that we're going to give you to make sure that you're focusing on the right things. And if you're only sleeping 4 hours a night, you have way too many clients not paying you enough.
Yeah, and I think another thing is a lot of times people come to, I'm sure you guys, they come to me, and just having somebody from the outside look at what they're doing, it help you make the decision, because sometimes you're suffering because you're scared to make a decision that you need to make. Success for a lot of people is as scary as or scarier than clinging to what they know, right? They want to kind of stay with what's comfortable, what's known. They're afraid. They're scared to go to a client and stand their ground. They're scared to raise their prices. They're fearful that if they make these changes, everything's going to really go to hell in a handbasket. And it's fear. And when they say this, it's like they feel trapped. And so we've all, myself included, we've all been like that. And that's why having a coach and having people around you who can look at what you're doing and without the emotion, because we're so close to it with our emotions, we get all bundled up and we get tied up and we don't know what to do, and then you end up suffering, and you don't need to suffer. I mean, there's too many examples of the people on this call, of other members that have had great success and have gone through what this person's going through. I mean, they're not alone, and they're not stupid, and they're not lazy. It's just we all need that coach. We need that fresh eyes. We need that everybody, including myself. I have my own peer group. You guys are coaches to me. When I create campaigns, I'm working with you guys. I'm always getting that input, because this is, that's part of our mission statement, is to expand the capacity of all members to achieve great things by sharing and collaborating. So, Jeff, let me take one more question real quick. Is there another one we can hit real fast?
Yeah, so there's one more question on here that I think we've got about a minute and a half left. Avi was talking about, he's sent out letters, he's made the phone calls, he's done all this, he gave it 6 months of going through and doing it, he's just not seeing results. Hey, how fast do you guys see of using what do you call Robin's marketing here to be able to get results?
So back in 2014 when we started doing this, right, we launched the newsletter and we did the bad date letter, and we started putting those things out right away. In addition, we had also done the pumpkin plan earlier in the year. But we started seeing results that same year. Having said that, you will find some clients some prospects they're marketing ready prospects. They're not ready to actually make a decision yet. They're not in that point of the sales funnel. You don't know when you're going to hit somebody and where they're going to be at in their own decision making, in their own process. That's why it's important that you're consistent and you're getting at it every single week, right? You're doing it. You're carving out time every day to spend some time on sales and marketing. You have to continue to do that. I literally had an appointment on Monday with a CPA who had had my card for 2.5 years. We didn't know her firm existed. She actually did part-time CFO work at a prospect of ours. And she said, I've had your card for 2.5 years. I decided to reach out because we're ready to make a change. The business has grown enough that we're ready for you guys. So it's a matter, like Charles said, it's a matter of just consistently doing it. Some people will get results instantaneously, and that's because they may have a better list than that.
Right.
Others may have a list that's not good. It's kind of a crap list. It's just random collections of cards that you don't really have any connection with. So in that, you've got to make sure, like what Leah said, is you've got to nurture your list. But the only way you nurture and clean your list is by actually doing it. You've got to make the phone calls. You've got to send the mailers out. You've got to send the emails out. You've got to do the work. And then you've got to make sure that you're tracking this stuff so you can consistently hone it and get it better. If you do that, you will start to get results. But the thing is, I was in sales long before I had an IT company. And I knew for a fact that I would never know how much money I could make in a job until I'd been in that position for 3 years. Because in 3 years, I knew that I had enough time to learn the client base, the prospects, the product, and the company I worked for. And I would consistently be a high earner by my 3rd year, but because I made the point of making the investment. So as long as you're willing to do that, you're going to see it. And 6 months, I'll be frank with you, is not enough time to find out if something's working.
Yeah.
You know, it's enough time to get the processes in place, but that's about it.
It's true. It's not enough time. I agree with you 100%, Stuart. And I would ask that person who posed the question, is your list clean, like Stuart mentioned? Did you take the time to scrub it? Also, is it in a targeted audience? Right. Are you focusing on a vertical, or is it just to a random chamber list? Like, because your likelihood of success, if you position yourself as an expert in an industry, like Peter was mentioning, and for me in my industry, I specialize in law firms and property management companies. And so when I'm doing my marketing, I'm not only doing the mailings, the direct mail campaigns, and we've had good success with Aspirin, and we've done Bad Date. So we really like both of those campaigns. But we're also doing speaking engagements. We're also sponsoring associations that I'm going to find other attorneys in. We're doing any kind of webinar we can. We're trying to partner with vendors and then presenting to that industry. So I'm trying to position us as the expert so that when I am sending an Aspirin campaign letter or a Bad Date letter, sometimes when we've gone on sales calls, they say, oh, there's a face to this. I recognize that company name, because I'm trying to saturate that industry, that vertical, versus just trying to saturate a geographic area.
Exactly.
Yeah, and my opinion is target marketing and unique selling proposition is totally key to being able to quickly, easily, efficiently communicate to your audience. If you know who they are and you can speak to their pains, again, the things that keep them up at night, you will get to where it is that you want more quickly. A clean list is the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. Leah, you want real quick? Or I'm sorry, go ahead, Leah, real quick.
Yeah. So in the end of 2014, in one quarter, I lost 62% of my top line revenue. So my company was basically decimated going into 2015. So instead of curling up into a ball and dying and being afraid, what I decided instead was to put together a very aggressive marketing plan. And I swore to myself, it did not matter what happened. If I didn't see results at the beginning, I was going to continue to work that darn thing all freaking year, because I had to save my company and I had to save my family. And I did. And the same kind of mix everyone's talking about, webinars, seminars, direct mail, calls, everything. By September, it's a flywheel, guys. By September, I started to get business. I kept at it, and it's been a flywheel that keeps throwing off business. You can't stop. You have to start, be committed, do the whole mix. Don't do it half-assed, and then continue it after it starts to produce.
Right. Okay. Guys, I hate to do this. We're going to have to wrap up. We've got a ton of questions. So here's what we're going to do. I need 1 minute to go back to the news desk, and I'm going to keep taking questions from you. So if you have any additional questions, we're watching the chat. I'm going to sit there with Dave D. I'm going to answer some more questions. I want to thank these 5 people for being on this webinar with me. These are amazing human beings that I love. I appreciate you guys so much. You make such a difference in the world, not only to your customers, but to our members. We see and hear it every single day. You truly, truly make a difference, and for that, I thank you so much. All right, so very cool. All right, give me 1 minute. If you got to go potty, do it quick. Come back because I'm going to start answering questions with Dave D. But first, let's play a quick video that kind of gives you some more details on Accelerators Club.
It's really launched our business.
Amazing.
Phenomenal.
Just absolutely incredible.
Game changer for my business.
I was offered Accelerators Club, and I took that offer because I really wanted to skyrocket the company.
And in order to get things moving, we knew we needed something new. So we became involved with Robin and immediately signed up with Accelerators. The attitude difference in our company is palpable.
The Accelerators Club is really what helped me out because it helped me to implement the toolkit rather than just leave it sit on the shelf.
I think a common misconception a lot of small business owners have is I have to have everything done before I really get started. Go be with other like-minded peers and just get started.
By having a weekly 1-hour call, it was accountable, and you don't want to be the person that shows up on your meeting and doesn't have your stuff done. And it really just holds you accountable to getting everything done.
The value that I get from talking to other business owners, and they know what I get to go through every day because they go through it too.
Because when you're really having trouble and you're really up against the wall and you've just kind of reached that point where you can't get past yourself, you're going to have a great group of people that you can reach out to get help. And that's what we really all need.
We start with making sure that they have the right plans in place, that they're really, really clear about who their client is and what their target market is.
I'm going to push you more and more to help you succeed, but you're going to see results just like I have.
And we'll get you the successes that you're looking for. And you really do need a coach. You need accountabilities. You need people that you can commit to and stay true to.
So you're going to get that weekly meeting with that group and that coach is going to help you every week to grow your business and make yourself successful and get to the next level.
And we've been able to increase our revenue just in the first few months. But just reaching our goals and seeing it so tangibly right in front of you and happening, just developing is just, yeah, it's very exciting.
We went from getting like maybe 1 or 2 leads a month to now 10 to 15 per month. And just last year alone, we were up just over 20% for the year and broke $1 million for the first time.
If you're thinking about it, just do it. I just told somebody, just get this done.
If you have doubts about the investment that you're making in your business, I could tell you that I was at that place and I could never go back.
Once you start, you're going to learn more and more, but you just have to take action.